Unit 1, Section 5, Routine Prescription. This is your prescription as a doctor to the patient. Now that you have your purpose in life, you found your why, you have your inspiration, you have your discipline, you have your goals, now it's time to put that to the test. Now it's time to execute. Now it's time to finally execute your goals in life. But how do we do that? We make a schedule. We make a game plan. The first step is to understand that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Sometimes it takes somebody actually saying it out loud for someone to finally believe it. I used to struggle with this myself. I couldn't wrap my head around the concept that we all have 24 hours in a day. It might sound stupid at first, but I truly think it needs to be said out loud so people finally understand it. People love to make excuses like, I don't have the time, but there is time. Users need to understand the simple truth. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Arnold Schwarzenegger has the same 24 hours in a day. Your favorite musician, your favorite actor, your favorite fictional character, if they don't live on a different planet that has different hours, but they all operate under the same clock. We all live on the same planet, on planet Earth. We have 24 hours in a day. Each hour has 60 minutes each. 7 days a week. The difference isn't the number of hours, it's what we do with those hours that matters the most. If you could hear my mother talking in the background, I do apologize, but we have work to do. I'm not going to wait around for them to stop talking. I have work to be done. Well, we have work to be done. For example, there was a point in my life when I would wake up at 3:30 a.m. It was. Every Monday through Friday before school. Why? Not to be productive, but to sit on the couch and watch RuPaul's Drag Race. And eat a Pop-Tart, I'm not even lying, with a full glass of milk. School didn't even start until 7:20 a.m. And I had to be on campus by 6:30 because of my dad's work schedule. But I literally woke up even more early just so I could watch TV. I'm not even joking. Now compare that to someone like David Goggins, who wakes up extremely early to push himself physically and mentally every single day. Or Mark Wahlberg, who reportedly wakes up at 2:30 a.m. to do his routines. But even early risers aren't automatically productive. Remember when Wahlberg was on Ellen? Do you remember when he was on Ellen? And he was like, yeah, I could do, 20 push-ups. I could do 30 pull-ups. And then he gets on the pull-up bar, and he does, I think he does at least like 5 or 10 good pull-ups. But then he keeps going. And then Ellen was like, so when are you gonna start those pull-ups? When should I start counting?
How many pull-ups can you do?
The max I do is probably like 40, but clean ones.
40 pull-ups.
Clean ones.
Now do it with proper form.
Right? Again, going back to this, it's always about quality versus quantity. Would you rather be known for the person who could do pull-ups like Mark Wahlberg, or would you rather be known for the person who could do one pull-up that looks like that? So just waking up early doesn't make you more disciplined or make you more physically fit or more better or more successful than anyone else do. The point is that you can be just as productive waking up later in the day as someone waking up at 3 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. as Mark Wahlberg does and does his little sissy pull-ups. But what matters is that what you do in those hours. If you wake up at 4 p.m. and focus, execute, and complete your goals, you are just as productive as the early risers. I lived in both sides of the coin, waking up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym only to spend the rest of the day doing absolutely nothing. What matters is how you spend your 24 hours, not when you start or how you start. Again, it's not how you start, it's about where you end up. Consistency is key. Your schedule needs consistency. Going to bed and waking up at widely different times every day throws off your circadian rhythm, according to Andrew Huberman. I highly recommend you watching him too. And you can negatively affect your health, even increasing the risk for certain conditions like cancer. Your body thrives on routine and sleep. Whether you sleep 7 hours or 9 hours, what matters the most is that staying consistent with your wake and sleep times. Some people thrive in the night hours, calling them night owls. Others during the day. Some have shifts, college classes, or other obligations. The key is to know yourself and schedule your day according to your natural rhythm, while ensuring you're constantly waking and sleeping at the same time. It's about quality, not the clock. All the YouTube videos of people waking up at 2 a.m. or 4 p.m. straight out getting out of bed doing push-ups and claiming that they have this insane productivity are often misleading. 50% of the time, it's misleading. If you take them as benchmarks, you can wake up at 6 p.m., do push-ups, work on your goals, and be just as productive and do the exact same thing as the YouTuber you saw. But as long as you focus, execute, and stick to your schedule, your 24 hours are yours. Respect them. Guard them. Plan around them. And remember, it's not about being extreme. It's about being consistent, disciplined, and intentional. Plain and simple. We all have 24 hours in a day. Calm down, accept it, breathe in and breathe out, and start learning how to use it. As long as you, like for instance, I go to bed between 9:30 and 10 p.m., sometimes 10:30, but as long as if you go to bed at 10 p.m. every night, 7 days a week, you're fine. I'm not saying that you can do whatever you want during the hours. I'm saying that if we all have 24 hours in a day, it doesn't really matter if you wake up before David Goggins. It really doesn't matter if you work out at 8 p.m. versus 8 a.m. We all have 24 hours in a day. Waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't make you have more hours in a day, because we all have 24 hours in a day. Just plain and simple. Now, step 2 in to make a schedule is to use math/obligation hours to figure out how many hours you actually have. Step 2 is to use math, specifically your obligation hours, to figure out how many hours in a day you actually have left for yourself. What I mean by this is that once you subtract the things you must do, you're left with what you actually have available during the week. How do you do this? You become obsessive with it. Self-improvement is obsession. Creating the schedule is obsession. If you're not obsessed with it, and then self-improvement isn't the right path for you. Self-improvement is a full-time job. It's a lifestyle. There are 7 days in a week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Good job, everyone. Every day of the week, you want to sit on your bed or wherever you feel the most comfortable at and get a pen and paper. Hell, I even give you permission to do this on your computer, because this is going to be very extensive. Now, go through your mind day by day and write down what your obligation hours are. After you figure that out for each day of the week, you'll see how many hours you actually have left for self-improvement. Now, becoming even more specific, 168 hours. You can even become more specific. Remember back in section 3, unit 1, we talked about how to make goals? In step 2 of that goal setting process, you are encouraged to be specific as possible. It's the same thing goes for here. There are 168 hours in a week, if I counted it right. Because 24 hours times 7 is 168 hours. You see how everything that I've kind of talked about so far in this video plays on each other? The things you learned in the previous section about how to make goals can be applied here in learning how to make a consistent schedule. Funny how that is, right? You can go even more deeper. That's what she said. How many hours are in a month? About 730 hours. How many hours are in a year? About 8,760 hours. You can go even more further. How many hours do you work in a week? 40? 50? 60? People who work 60 plus hours a week, you have my condolences. You really do. But I hope you do it for good reasons. But 60 hours a week, that's horrendous. People who work 60 hours a week, they have a whole other discipline. You know, if you're working 60 hours a week, you don't need this video. I mean, you're already set for life. You already know what you need to do, right? Very disciplined. I have respect for people who work above 40 hours a week. I really do. But once you know how many hours or how many obligation hours you have, you can subtract those hours. You can get as specific as you want, down to the decimal if you feel like it. But realistically, when you make a schedule, you want to focus week by week. So you start with 168 hours in a week, minus a 40-hour or 50-hour work week, minus commute, chores, gyms, kids, having pets, relationships, etc. After all that, you may realistically be left with 20 hours of freedom, 10 hours of freedom, or maybe 1 hour of freedom. And if after a 7-day work week, you're only left with 1 fucking hour, and then you need to protect that hour. Even if you focus on one goal for only 10 minutes a day, that is still better than 0 minutes, because you look at it differently. Oh, because if you look at it differently, 10 minutes times 365 days in a year, that's 3,650 minutes in a year. Imagine if your goal is meditation. Just meditating 10 minutes a day, that means you would have meditated 3,650 minutes in 1 year. Little improvement is better than no improvement. Only you can decide this. This step 2 out of this entire how to make a schedule process is honestly the most stressful and tiring one. Because this is the step where you actually need to use numbers. You actually need to use math to understand how many hours you truly have left in a day. Step 3 is to rotate, substitute your tasks, and practice multitasking. I'm sorry, there's also construction going on outside. What I mean by this is that there are 7 days in a week, and if you are doing something a majority time of the week, meaning more than 4 times a week, sometimes even 3 times a week, then you are doing just fine. That means you are practicing the skill more than half the week. There are 7 days in a week, so if you are doing something 3 to 4 times a week, you are doing just fine with that, especially when you first start out. 4 times a week is all you really need. 3 times a week, too. The goal is about, because there's 7 days in a week, right? And if you're doing something a majority time of the week or half of the week, and then you're reaping most of the benefits, obviously, if you're consistent once a week, that's okay. But when you first start out, once a week is fine. But when you want to maintain, especially when it comes to exercise, and there's certain things, certain goals, certain skills that only require once a week attention for 30 minutes. But I know from experience that when it comes to losing weight and becoming healthy, if you're lifting weights more than 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the intensity as well, and then you're reaping most of the benefits. This goal is about rotating and substituting tasks. Well, this section is about it. What I mean by this is that the days you don't go to the gym, you can use that extra hour for another goal. For example, the days you don't go to the gym are the days you read a book. The days you don't read a book are the days you study Korean. The days you clean the house are the days you don't go to the gym. You can even use that as a cleaning day, as your cardio day, because you're walking around the house all day, moving around, etc. You need to figure out your schedule first before you start rotating tasks. And sometimes you even can multitask with some of them. For example, if one of your goals is to study a language and another one is to work out at the gym, you can listen to a podcast in that language while working out. That is multitasking. Or the first 30 minutes of your workout, instead of listening to music, pop in that podcast. In the last 30 minutes of your workout, you can have fun and listen to whatever you want. Another example is if one of your goals is to spend more time with your dogs outside, instead of being on your phone, substitute that phone time with reading a book out loud to your dogs. Just like reading to a child at bedtime. Sometimes I do that and it saves time because I don't have to read a book after I come home spending time with the dogs. I can spend time with the dogs and complete my goals at the same time. The art of step 3 is realizing how much time you actually have and learning how to substitute that time. There are going to be times where your schedule feels overwhelming. And yes, it will be overwhelming if you try to cram everything in a single day. For instance, my goal looks like this. Study Korean 30 minutes 4 times a week. Same thing with the piano, 30 minutes 4 times a week. Guitar. Make YouTube videos, or film YouTube videos, edit my YouTube videos, and plan my YouTube videos. Write the script for the video that I'm actually doing right now, writing the script. I'm also in the process of writing my own book, also in the process of writing 2 books at the moment. I know, 2 books. It can be stressful. I'm probably missing a couple of other things as well on this list, but if you try to do all that in one day, your body will eventually give up. It's too much. But if you break it down and break it up, it becomes manageable. Every day you are doing something, but every day you aren't overdoing it. For example, I'll insert a picture here too. For example, I study Korean Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday on Duolingo 4 times a week, every single week. And on the days I do not study Korean, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all the days I read a book. I substitute the Korean time with reading time. Usually it takes me about 30 minutes to read 1 chapter. Sometimes a bit more, to be honest with you, because I have to look up words that I don't know how to pronounce on the internet. And my goal is to read 3 to 5 chapters a week, depending. And the days you don't read, where on the days that I don't read, are the days that I play the piano or the guitar, if it's my day to do so. I mean, right? You get the point, right? As long as you are doing something the majority time of the week, you are doing just fine. Just calm down and relax. If you're having trouble deciding where to start, especially at the beginning of your self-improvement journey, if you have 20 hobbies and you want to pursue all of them at the same time, start with only one. Start with the most important one. After you build momentum, you can add another one, and another one, and another one. Another one. DJ Khaled, go buy your mama a house. Don't start playing the piano and the guitar while also trying to read a book and you don't even know how to play the guitar yet. You know what I mean? Don't start playing the piano and the guitar. Also trying to write a book when you don't even know how to play the guitar yet, you know? Once you have a hobby locked in, concrete in your schedule, and you can commit to it 4 times a week consistently without having to force it, and then you can add another instrument or another goal if you see fit. Step 4. Create a buffer zone and prepare for the worst. What I mean by this is that if your goal is to practice the piano for 30 minutes 4 times a week, and you do your obligation hours and you subtract how much hours you actually have left, sometimes you need to make extra room just in case. When you plan something, if you have exactly 1 hour left in the day, try to either give yourself an extra 20 minutes on top of that hour, or don't plan for that hobby to be the full hour, because there are going to be times where people interrupt you, life interrupts you. For example, when I play the guitar and I play the guitar and I plan on just doing 30 minutes of the guitar, it actually always turns out to be about 45 minutes. Because I live with my parents, and oftentimes they want me to go upstairs or help them around the house. And they always do that every single time I'm doing something important. I'm not even kidding. Every time I'm doing something important. When I'm watching TV, playing video games, not a single peep, not a single sound. But when I'm doing something important, suddenly they need my attention. Most of you can relate. When you're not doing anything, your parents don't bother you. But the moment you fall asleep for the night or doing something meaningful, now they want to talk to you. And this actually ties all the way back to Unit 1, Section 4 on how to make goals, which is all about quality over quantity. This buffer zone is exactly that in action. It's quality first. It's not about how many times you do something or how long you think you practiced. It's about the actual focused quality. Because how many minutes of the guitar are you actually playing, right? You need to set a timer. Every skill needs a timer. Every goal needs a timer. Without a timer, you are lying to yourself. If I didn't set a timer for playing the guitar, I would convince myself that I practiced 30 minutes that day. In reality, I probably practiced 5 minutes of real guitar playing. And then the rest is me just zoning out. This is why everything in Unit 1 and everything in this video all ties back into each other. Everything connects. I cannot stress this enough. Quality first and form first. Well, quality first / form first. The machine works for you. You don't need to work for the machine. The machine works in your favor. And I can't be there with you 24/7 to track your progress or to track your time. I wish I could reach out through the screen, through the internet, and walk this journey with you side by side. But I can't. So you have to become your own timer. Do not make the same mistakes as I did. The only reason I know this is because I lived it and I'm still living that life. I am on this self-improvement journey with you. Step 4 isn't the most glamorous step, but it is one of the most important when it comes to consistency. I have to learn how to pronounce that word. Consistency. Because without, you know what I mean. Alright, please don't make fun of me. You guys probably won't make fun of me. You guys are cool. You're my patients. Because without a buffer zone, you will always be rushed, anxious, or behind. Think of it like money. If you're going out to dinner, you don't bring exactly $100. You bring $150 or $200 just in case. If you go on a 3-day trip, you don't pack exactly 3 pairs of underwear. You bring 4. Why? Because you never know what could happen, especially for the ladies. You know exactly what I mean, right? Always bring an extra pair. You never know what could happen. Maybe a delay could happen. Maybe you meet the love of your life and you want to stay another day. You never know if you're on vacation. Or maybe you accidentally poop your pants. Maybe someone changes your order when you're at a restaurant. So you go at the same restaurant every weekend, every Friday night, you go to the same restaurant with a girlfriend. And it always happens to be exactly $100, right? But for this particular night, Samantha suddenly orders something different. She suddenly orders lobster instead of soup. And now the bill is $65, right? Instead of $61, like it usually is, you know what I mean? If you only brought $61, you're stuck. You look unprepared. You look like a fool. Life made me into that fool for 24 years. And I refuse to let my patients become that fool too. Be prepared. This step applies to everything, not just schedules. A job interview. If you have a job interview, create a buffer zone. Don't just prepare for the question, what is your greatest weakness? Prepare for all possible questions. Rehearse them, recite them. Use a buffer zone with your preparation. Protect yourself from panic. If it takes you 20 minutes to drive to the job interview, leave 10 minutes early. You never know if there could be an accident on the road. It's better early and then late, because then you don't have to worry. If you leave exactly 20 minutes and the interview is exactly 20 minutes away, you're going to feel like you're being rushed. But if you leave within 10 minutes of extra time, you leave 30 minutes early when you live 20 minutes away, you have 10 extra minutes to do whatever you want. You know what I mean? A buffer zone is simply a time survival kit, a mental safety net. Self-improvement is preparing, or one of the things of self-improvement is preparing for the worst, so that reality doesn't knock you down when you're finally doing something right in your life. Prepare ahead. Bring the extra time, bring the extra effort, bring the extra buffer zone. Not because you will always need it, but because when you don't, you get to breathe easy knowing you are always ready to succeed. I'm just going to reenact on what I mean by creating a buffer zone for your hobbies. So for example, like right now, okay, let's just pretend I'm about to practice that guitar, which I'm not, because I'm filming a YouTube video. But hypothetically, let's just pretend, alright, I'm sitting down and I'm practicing my guitar for 30 minutes, right? And the time right now is 4:34 p.m. So at around 5:05, something around there, that's about be 30 minutes. So right, so I'm playing the guitar, I'm just not me showing off my guitar skills. And then maybe my mom calls me in the room. Oh, I gotta get up and go, right? I gotta stop playing the guitar, right, guys? I gotta see what she wants, right? I gotta go, right? Then I come back, right? And then I sit down, I gotta play the guitar, and let's just say pretend the time is now 4:45. Let's just pretend. Let's just pretend. Let's just pretend. And then I go back playing the guitar, right? I get my bearings. I'm like, okay, right? Let me play the guitar for you guys. I'm not me showing off. Playing guitar. Oh my god, my friend texted me. Phone goes off. Hello, hello, ring ring. How are you doing, girl? Ring ring. 안녕하세요. How you doing, girl? Oh, that's the gossip. Oh, he cheated on you? He did what? Oh my OMG, girl. Right? And then I check the time. Hypothetically, let's just say it's 5:05 right now, right? And I say, oh, looks like I practiced my 30 minutes for today. Alright, I'm done with the guitar, guys. When in reality, I practiced 1 minute. You know what I mean? There's gonna be distractions in your lives, and so it's very important to set a timer. So for instance, I have to hurry up. My phone camera's dying, so I don't know how long I have left. So you get the stopwatch, right, guys? You go, okay, start timer, right? And then you play guitar. Googie googie boo doo boo doo boo. Right, you play the guitar, then oh, my mom calls me again. All right, stop the timer. Damn, I gotta get up again, right? Okay, come back around, help my mom, right? And so far I practiced literally 14 seconds of the guitar, right? And then I go back, I resume the timer. Let's say hypothetically the timer said 5 minutes has passed, right? But anyway, I restart the timer, right? I play the guitar again. Oh my gosh, my phone goes off. Who could it be? Who could it be? John Cena? I don't know. So you stop the timer. John Cena, hello, how'd you get my phone number, man? And then you guys talk for about 20 minutes, right? And then you look at the timer, or you stop the timer, and then let's just say hypothetically, you know, you only practice 28 seconds of the guitar, right? You know what I'm saying? So then you restart the timer, and then every time you get up to do something, you stop the timer. And then every time you play the guitar or you resume on your goal, you start it, you start, stop. And then by the end, it'll lead up to 30 minutes or an hour. Then after that hour has completed, and then everything's fine. So it's very important that you need to create a timer for yourself. So every time you get up from that starting goal, you can pause the timer, then you can go back to it, and then you can really practice the guitar. All right? Because let's just say hypothetically, it's like 5:30 right now. Why is it so bright? It's not really focusing. Right now it's 4:39, right? Hypothetically, let's just say it's 5:39, right? And it's like, wow, I practiced the guitar for 1 hour. Holy moly cow! Oh wow! In reality, you really haven't. In reality, you probably practiced 30 seconds, right? But in reality, you practiced only 36 seconds. Well, technically, probably 20 seconds, because I started the timer a little before I practiced the guitar, but anyway, right? But in reality, you practiced about 30 seconds of the guitar, right? And 1 hour has passed. But in your head, you think you practiced the guitar for 1 hour, but you haven't, because John Cena called, your mom called you 2 times in the kitchen, wanted you to help her, your friend called about gossip. So this is what I mean, people. Sometimes when you practice something or when you work out, you're not really working out for that 1 hour. You know, because when people say, oh, I go to the gym and I work out, oh, I lift weights, most of the time they're just like this, looking at their phones like this. And you know what I'm saying? Create a buffer zone, right? If you're going to practice the guitar for 30 minutes, and then practice it for 30 minutes. But if you get distracted, because, you know, life happens, and if you live with people in the same house as you, you have to prepare for the worst. And one way you could do that is to set a timer. Every time you practice the guitar, you just set a timer. You know, you set a timer. Banga banga, banga banga, boonga boonga, bada boom, bada bing, I'm walking here. Alright? Then you stop the timer. That's 6 seconds of guitar playing. Oh, my mom called me. I gotta go. Right? I gotta go, guys. Then you come back, right? Then let's just say 30 minutes has passed, right? But on the timer, only 6 seconds. It's still the same thing. So then you play the guitar, you start it again. Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing. I'm walking here. Yeah, I'm from New York. Yeah, I'm from New York. I'm from New York, right? And then you stop the timer because, oh my God, John Cena called me again. Yo, what up, John Cena? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Right? Then you look back at the timer. There's only 15 seconds passed. But if you look at the clock, let's just say hypothetically, this says 5:41. An hour has already passed, right? Then you look back at the timer and it says 15 seconds? Holy moly! Right? Now, this is what I mean. This is the stuff that people don't talk about when it comes to self-improvement. And when it comes to time management skills. This is the stuff that people don't talk about, and I have no idea why. I'm not a brain surgeon. Yo, my camera died. Okay? I'm not a brain surgeon. I didn't go to doctor school. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize how to create the buffer zone, create a timer. People don't talk about this when it comes to self-improvement. I have no idea why. It baffles me. It baffles me. It baffles me. Do not make yourself look like a fool. Because I made myself look like a fool for 24 years of my life. Well, about 23 of my life, because when I got to self-improvement, I finally got a hang of things. But still, I still look like a fool. Because, I mean, look at me. Just look at me, right? Look at me, right? I want my patients to succeed in life because at the end of the day, you know, bada boom, bada bing. You know what I mean? That was a lot to handle. I really got into it. Alright, step 5. Prioritize your goals. Prioritizing your goals means doing the most important goal first. Where's my goal chain? Out of all the goals you have... Did you hear that? What the hell was that? Whether it be 5 goals, 10 goals, 69 goals, or just 1 goal, you need to determine which one would bother you the most if you died today without completing it. If you only have 1 hour left in the day and 10 different goals you still haven't even touched, you don't scatter your energy. You need to focus that 1 hour on the one goal that matters the most to you, and only you can decide that. For example, I have many goals, as you can see in this video. It's horrible. I have many goals, like becoming a successful YouTuber, write a book, or write books, pearl. I gotta learn to practice that word too. Pearl. More than 1 books. Write a books, or write books. Become fluent in Korean, master the piano and the guitar. Learn filmmaking, how to make better cinematic YouTube videos, and improve on my physical abilities. But if I only had 1 hour of free time in the day, I would probably choose YouTube first before all of them. Just because with YouTube, I know that it'll lead to financial success, and that's what I need. I need a financial stability. And so some people may choose writing their book first. Some people may choose the gym first. Some people may choose studying their language first, but there is no right or wrong answer here. It depends on who you are and what you want or what you value the most. My screen's like bright today. The key here is obsession. The things you truly care about must come first, and they must come early in your day when your energy is still the highest. Unless you are a person who has more energy, in the middle of the day or at night, and then in that case you need to make sure. The key here is obsession. The things you truly care about must come first, and they must come early in the day when your energy is still high. Unless you are a person who has the most amount of energy in the afternoon or in the evening or in the middle of the night. And in that case, you need to make sure that at the night or etc., after work or after school, you commit to that goal with zero negotiation. You become a protector of your energy and your time. Like, for example, some people have the most amount of energy in the morning, and so most people like going to the gym in the morning. Some people like to go to the gym in the morning because it's easy, it gets it out the way. There's not a lot of people at the gym and they have work and they don't feel like going to the gym after work because the after school, after work crowd. But then there's some people who rather work out after work because they tend to have the most energy. It just depends on how you feel. Now, some people will say, well, what if I only have 1 hour and I want to work on everything? I have these many goals and I cannot afford to only focus on one. I have to do them all. Well, if that's your mindset, you can technically split that 1 hour into 10-minute increments, 10-minute blocks. 10 minutes for goals. So each goal you have, you can do 10 minutes for that goal, 10 minutes for goal number 2, and 10 minutes for goal number 3, and so on. Some goals probably won't be as beneficial if you focus on 10 minutes a day. Some will, some not. While this sounds a bit extreme, it is the only real strategy when you're first building discipline, because sometimes 10 minutes is all you need to keep that momentum. Like I said earlier in this section, 10 minutes is always better, and then 0 minutes. But at the end of the day, you must still identify which of your goals is the primary one, the one that everything else is built around on. That must always be your first priority. Like for mine, I would say a majority of my goals surround YouTube, because every year I post a video titled my 2-year guitar progression, my 1-year guitar progression, my 3-year guitar progression. Same thing with the piano, and same thing with reading the book. I'm in the process, well, not in the process, but I am planning on making a video titled I read 10 books. Here's my opinion, right? So everything that I do when it comes to self-improvement, it always revolves back into this YouTube channel. If it wasn't for this YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't be as motivated to practice the guitar and the piano. It's because of why I do the 2-year guitar progression of the guitar, my 3-year guitar progression. It's because it keeps me accountable. Because if I don't practice the guitar or the piano for that week or that month, I have nothing to film, and hence I have no video to post. So just as my example, everything revolves around this YouTube channel. But that must always be your first priority. When you get that done early, the rest of your day becomes less stressful. Even if everything else goes wrong, you still accomplish the one thing that mattered the most. Like for example, on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, I study the Korean. And on the days that I practice the Korean within the first hour of me waking up, I don't feel stressed. But on the days where I put it off and I'm like, oh man, I haven't studied Korean yet, and it's 4 p.m. and I don't really want to study Korean, I kind of want to watch TV. It stresses me out, because for the whole day I say, man, I gotta study Korean, man, I gotta study Korean. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do it after when I'm done with my YouTube video. I'll do it after I'm done with the piano. I'll do it after dinner. And then sometimes I don't do it. And so sometimes when you complete your goal first thing in the morning, when you first wake up, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Because if everything else goes wrong, you still accomplished the one thing that mattered the most to you, and that is your goal. Always prioritize your most important goals first, and everything else is secondary. Step 6. Plan for rest days and execute goals with precision. This again goes back into the quality versus quantity too. Self-improvement isn't about going full throttle like Fast and the Furious 24/7. You want to work hard, yes, but you also need to rest. A balanced approach is about working 80% of the time and resting about 20% of the time. Be disciplined 80% of the time and give yourself grace the other 20%. Life isn't just about constant productivity. It's about being happy, sustainable, and effective. Rest days are essential and not optional. It's like God. On the seventh day, he'd rest. He built the heavens and the earth. I'm not that familiar, I don't know in which order, but I do know that day one, he built the heavens and the earth, and then the trees and the fish and the animals and the water. But on the seventh day, he took a rest, and that was on Sunday. And that's why they call it Sunday, because of the sun. Rest. I actually don't know why they call it Sunday. I just made that up. Because the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I just made that up. I don't know if it's because the rest day, and then they named it Sunday because of the sun. I don't know. But even God took a rest day when he built the earth. Even he did. And it's true. It's in the Bible. Even bodybuilders take a rest day. There are some bodybuilders out there that do a 6-day work week split, or they do a 5-day work split. Every bodybuilder, competitive bodybuilder, they always take at least one day off. And it's true. It really is true. Look it up. Why rest days are crucial. Ever wonder why Monday or Tuesday feel like the best days of the week? I wasn't even screen recording. Man, that means I gotta do screenshots instead. I forgot to screen record. Ever wonder why Monday or Tuesday feel like the best days of the week? It's because you had a rest. Those 2 days of abstinence make your energy and focus feel renewed. Some people may be different. Some people have the weekends off, Saturday, Sunday. Some people may have Monday, Tuesday off, but just in general, just on average, ever wonder why Monday or Tuesday feel like the best days of the week? It's because you had a rest day, a rest weekend. Those 2 days of absence make your energy and focus feel renewed. Wednesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday can feel the hardest because you're running out of momentum from earlier in the week. But Friday is a kind of special day of relief. You know that rest is coming. This break gives you something to look forward to. Absence creates value and desire, not just in relationships, but in your own habits and goals as well. The more you are consistently present with a goal, the more you are consistently present with a goal, the more it can lose its aura. Stepping away strategically makes your goals feel exciting, fresh, and important again. So I'm just gonna go down here because that should have been up there. But for example, abstinence creates value in your goals. Here's where the principle from the 48 laws of power comes in. Law 16 states, use abstinence to increase respect and honor. My screen is pretty bright today. Too much circulation makes the price go down. This is true for most goals. The more you are constantly immersed in your goal, the more ordinary it feels. Stepping away periodically gives it power and meaning. When you come back to a goal after a short absence, you respect it more. You are more motivated, your focus is even more sharper. Imagine going hard at the gym 7 days a week. At first you're excited, but the hype dies down in a few months. Take a 2 to 3 week break, and then when you return, you admire your goals even more. You crave progress again. This principle applies to every goal. Piano, YouTube, writing, learning a language. Strategic absence enhances value. So I'm going to go back up here. Okay, where was I? Alright, rest days don't mean abandoning all progress. For example, when I do rest days or cycles every few months, I may take a break from 1 or 2 hobbies while continuing others. I may pause for YouTube for a week but still practice Korean, piano, guitar. Even in rest, I'm still learning and growing. The key is to reducing intensity, not stopping growth completely. Deload weeks and workload management. A deload week is when you intentionally scale back from 100 effort to 50% effort. That was a scary angle. Instead of trying to juggle 10 hobbies at once, focus on just 5. This prevents burnout and keeps your mind fresh. Every few months, every few months, every couple weeks, every few months, allow yourself a full 1 week to truly rest. No obligations, no pressure. You don't need to go out and drink or overindulge. Just step back for a while. Or you can, every couple weeks, you can take a deload week where instead of focusing on 10 goals, you focus on 5 goals for about 2 weeks. Think of rest days like giving your schedule a buffer zone, like we talked about in the last goal. Well, I think that was back in step number 4, I believe. Because step number 5 was how to prioritize your goals, right? And then step 4 was the buffer zone, right? Yeah. Right. Think of it, schedule a buffer zone for your mind and energy. If you're constantly pushing, that's what she said, you'll reach a point there. Damn, didn't even, what? It's not capital. You'll reach a point where your habits lose their value. By creating intentional breaks, your goals regain their aura back in importance. This isn't laziness, it's strategic recovery, and it makes your work more meaningful and your focus even more sharper. Honoring your inner child. Rest days should honor your inner child. Remember summer breaks from 3rd grade? Well, I do. That sense of freedom, of pure enjoyment of the summer, they literally capture the essence of what your rest days should look like. Do what genuinely brings you joy, but of course in moderation. Play the piano, take a walk, read a book, or simply just relax. Do whatever 12-year-old version of yourself would do. But don't overindulge. Balance is key. Imagine it as a blindfold. Your rest days let you peek through the blindfold, but don't remove it completely. Still stay aware of your surroundings. Enjoy freedom, but maintaining self-discipline and mindfulness. Self-awareness is essential, even on rest days. I'm going to read from the 16 Laws of Power. I'll take a picture and insert it here. Everything in the world depends on absence and presence. A strong presence will draw power and attention to you. You shine more brightly in those around you. But a point is inevitably reached where too much presence creates the opposite effect. The more you are seen and heard from, the more your value degrades. You become a habit. No matter how hard you try to be different, subtly, without your knowing why, people respect you less and less. At the right moment, you must learn to withdraw yourself before they unconsciously push you away. It is a game of hide and seek. The truth of this law can most easily be appreciated in the matters of love and seduction. In the beginning stages of an affair, the lover's absence stimulates your imagination. forming a sort of aura around him or her, or a pineapple tree if you identify as such, in 2025 or in 2026. But this aura fades when you know too much, when your imagination no longer has room to roam. The loved one becomes a person like anyone else, a person whose presence is taken for granted. This is why the 7th century French courtesan Nenende Lansons advised constant fence at withdrawal from one's lover. Love never dies of starvation, she wrote, but often of indigestion. This is very true, and you can translate this to your goals. The more you surround yourself with your goals, the less appetizing they may seem, which will lead to indigestion. And I know what you're thinking. Well, am I supposed to work hard? You said in this video that I'm supposed to complete my goals, but you need to create rest. You need to have room so that you can take a break, you can rest. You need to decipher the difference between being lazy and taking a well-deserved break. The more you work out, the more you read a book, the more you even edit videos, for example, the less appealing that activity is. Take, for example, the famous YouTubers BF versus GF. Back in the day, back in my day, they used to vlog. Well, in the beginning, they would vlog every couple days or something when they first started out doing prank videos and all that. And then all of a sudden, they started to daily vlog for I forgot how many years, but I think close to 7-8 years. They posted a vlog, a video on YouTube every single day. And in the beginning, it was fun, right? It was fun. And then somewhere along the line, it didn't get fun because they had to force a persona for the camera and for their fans. And hence, they broke up. That's one of the reasons why they broke up. One of the catalysts of why they broke up. Jesse Wellens, he's been in a couple of interviews where he's like, yeah, the relationship I had with Jen, most of it had to do with because I was constantly vlogging every day. And then he would be like, am I being nice to my girlfriend because I have to look good for the camera, or am I being nice for my girlfriend because I love her? And when you vlog every day blends into each other. You don't know if you did that yesterday or today because everything just blends into one. And so Jesse said, I remember, I forgot what interview it was, but he said, yeah, sometimes I'll just buy her flowers in the vlog, and sometimes I don't even know if I wanted to buy her flowers. I just wanted to look good for the camera. Right? And so this is a real life example. These are real people that started out with a relationship and they vlogged every single day of their life for years, and they broke up. And I'm sure they broke up for other reasons as well, from drifting apart. And there's been rumors that Jesse was unfaithful to Jen. But half the reason why they broke up is because they were always surrounded around YouTube. They were always surrounded around making vlogs because that's how they paid the bills. And so the same thing goes with your goals or anything that you do. Because now Jesse, he doesn't make YouTube videos as much as he used to, because he said in many interviews that the love that he has for YouTube isn't the same as he did years ago. He posts probably once a month, every couple months when he feels like it, but he feels as if he is drained, because in the same way, YouTube gave him the life that he has now, financial freedom. But YouTube also is the main reason why he is no longer in a relationship with the love of his life. Same thing with Jen. But Jen and Jesse, they both love their fans equally. They both do. But it's just that since they vlogged every single day of their life, it got a bit tiring. So take that into account, and I highly recommend you check out the 48 Laws of Power. You can go on YouTube. There's actually a free audiobook of the 48 Laws of Power. There is. There's a free audiobook on it but I highly recommend you check it out, whether you buy the book or you go on YouTube for free and listen to the audiobook. I highly recommend. There's a lot of good information in this book. Yeah, so we kind of just covered that absence creates value in your goals. Imagine going hard at the gym 7 days a week. At first, you're excited, but the hype dies down in a few months. Take a 2 or 3 day break. When you return, you admire your goals even more. You crave progress again. The principle applies to every goal: piano, YouTube, writing, learning a language. Strategic absence enhances the value of whatever goal you are completing. That's why our New Year's resolution goals always fail. Because we go hard, that's what she said, in the first half, and we don't leave room for the second half. I'm going to say this quote again. That's why our New Year's resolution goals always fail. Because we go too hard in the first half and don't leave room for the second half. It's like an athlete, it's like a marathon. A runner who pushes themselves in the first quarter, they're gonna get tired. Oh, it's like that Fast and the Furious scene where what's it called? The NOS button, right? Vin Diesel, what's his name in Fast and Furious? Lenny? It's not Lenny. Dom? Yeah, Dom. That's why he wins most of his races, because all of his competitors, they pulled the NOS trigger way too early. But Dom, he waits till the last second and then he pulls the NOS trigger so that it doesn't run out at the finish line. You need to leave room for the second half. If I can, I may insert a clip here. I don't want to get copyrighted. It's a pain. Every clip that I have used so far in this video has been a pain to edit, because just in case I would edit the clip, then I'll make my modifications to it, and then I'll export the video just having that clip, just so I could see on YouTube if it reads as copyrighted or not. It's a pain, because sometimes it comes back approved, sometimes it doesn't. Because the last thing I want is to edit a video that's 10 hours long, and then wait for it to upload, and then come to find out I have all these videos that are copyrighted. Then I have to go back and add, you know what I mean? I digress. Approximately 80 to 90% of New Year's resolutions always fail. It's true. Look it up. That sounded very sarcastic. My apologies. With many people abandoning them within the first month or two. Common reasons for failure include setting unrealistic goals, not having a clear plan, aka not having a clear why, like we talked about very early on in the video, right? Back in, I believe, section 2, right? And not having discipline, back in section 3, right? And forgetting about them over time. Only about 9 to 10% of people report accomplishing their goals for the year. Executing goals with precision. Now that you have your goals, it's time to execute them. To achieve them, no matter what, it's one thing to have goals and another to execute them with precision. Some people have more hours in a day than others based on their lifestyle and physical capabilities. Some people have more energy than others. Some people need to leave more room for rest, like me, because of my health conditions. Even though self-improvement is about improving, you cannot grow without having a strategic rest. Sleep is a critical component of execution. It's how your brain consolidates learning and strengthens neural connections. Research from Harvard Medical School shows the brain doesn't store what you learn while awake. It stores it while you sleep. During deep and REM sleep, your brain replays and strengthens new neural connections through a process called memory consolidation. People who sleep after studying retain 20 to 40% more information than those who don't. In other words, you gather information during the day, but your brain locks it in at night. Skipping rest or sleep, or lack of sleep, doesn't make you more productive. It actually reduces the effectiveness of everything that you do, because remember back, quality versus quantity. If you survived off of 4 hours of sleep and you're tired and you go to the gym, you might as well not even go to the gym that day, because obviously you're just gonna, I gotta do my bicep curls, right? But if you're surviving off of 9 hours of sleep, you're like, okay, right? Your posture's perfect, you're improving on your strength, you're lifting heavy weight, right? It's quality over the quantity. Practical rest and execution strategies. So, number 1 is schedule deload weeks. These are just a summary of what we talked about. Every few weeks, reduce the intensity. Focus on fewer goals at lower effort. 2 is create rest days, at least 1 or 2 per week, or 3 or 4, where you step back from intense focus. 3, honor your inner child. Do something that feels joyful and stress-free. Keep it intentional. Use absence strategically. Step away from goals occasionally to restore motivation and value. Integrate sleep. Prioritize sleep as a core part of goal execution. Number 6, adjust goals based on energy levels. Recognize your personal energy rhythms and schedule accordingly. By combining rest, strategic abstinence, and precise execution, you prevent burnout and you increase efficiency. You increase efficiency. Yeah, you increase efficiency and efficiency. Close enough. I gotta practice that one. Efficiency, and maintain consistent progress. Rest days and deload weeks are not wasted time. They are a tool to make your hours of work more valuable, focused, and sustainable. Step 7. Use extra hours wisely. One of the most underutilized. Alright, step 7. Use extra hours wisely. One of the most unutilized tools in self-improvement is learning to leverage extra hours wisely. Most people see their weekdays as fixed: work, commuting, chores, and other obligations. But extra time on the weekends, early mornings, late nights, is a hidden advantage if you know how to use it strategically. Work when others don't. Here's a real example. If you don't want to become a product of the machine, we haven't talked about the machine in a while, but if you don't want to become a product of the machine, do your most important activities when others are typically resting. Gym goers know the best days are Sundays, Saturdays, and sometimes Friday nights, depending if it's a holiday weekend or what. Why? Because you don't have to wait for the equipment. You don't have to deal with crowds or navigate distractions. There's no rush. No one is judging how many sets you have left, or no one is judging you for trying a new workout, right? Or making you feel bad for taking up your time because you have to hurry up, or cut it short because somebody's waiting for you to finish the machine. No pun intended. Literally. Go at unusual hours, early mornings, late nights, or holiday breaks. People who work out at 4 a.m., for example, are rarely there to gossip. They're focused. They have a goal and they respect their own time, and they respect other people's time as well. Experiment with timing to see what environment maximizes focus and productivity. Surround yourself with purpose. This also ties back into step 4 of how to make goals. Also, I want to add that You ever notice that when you go to the gym at 5 p.m., like on a random Tuesday, you have crowds of people that don't seem that disciplined to go to the gym? Yeah, there's maybe a couple people that are there not staring at their phones, but most of the time it's young people. I'm sorry, that's my flashlight. Young people just staring at their phones like this. I literally, when I wasn't diagnosed with my health conditions, I would literally go to the gym, and I'm not even kidding you. I seen multiple people, especially when it involves an exercise where you sit down, like the leg, not the leg, what's it called? Oh, the leg extension machine for the calves. There's a leg extension machine for the calves? You mean quads, you imbecile! You imbecile! It's quads! The leg extension machine! You imbecile! Just sit there, right? And you see. They just sit there, right? I can't even see. And do their quad, do their leg extension, and they'll be like this. Look at that phone. I'm not even kidding you. One time, I seen a teenage girl do side raises like this, looking at her phone. It was crazy. I couldn't even believe it. Also, you need to be self-aware, so just look around. The next time you go to the gym, try to go at different times if you can, especially on your days off from work, so you don't have to worry about, oh my god, am I going to be late for work or not? But look around. Usually if you go to the gym between 5 a.m. to about 10 a.m., there's a different crowd of people. Usually it's more grown-ups, and you can tell they're a little bit more serious, right? Yeah, I mean, you may find a couple people staring at their phones, but they're usually not there to talk. Whereas if you go after work hours, like between 5 p.m. and like 8 p.m., there's gonna be like teenagers there, all kinds of people, old people, young people, middle-aged people. So what I'm saying is at work, sometimes when it comes to having a schedule, sometimes one of the ways to make a schedule work for you is to not become a product of the machine. Because I'm just using as a gym as an example because it's universal, and there's a bit of a pun in it because of the using machines and not becoming a product of the machine, of aka society that we talked about before, of knowing that the common enemy is the machine, is technology. And so when you go to the gym when others don't, you don't need to wait on nobody. No one there is judging you for doing weird types of calisthenics on the pull-up bar or anything. Going to the gym on a Sunday is the best day to go. When I was at my peak working out, I loved going to gym on Sundays. And I picked my rest days to be either Tuesday or Wednesday, sometimes Monday, because everybody, they have that Monday spark, and they're like, alright, I gotta go to the gym. But I've noticed that Sundays or Saturdays are the best time to go, especially Sundays. Especially if it's a holiday weekend, oh my god. It's a ghost town. No one's there, maybe like one or two people, and the one or two people that's there, they're not there to gossip. They literally just work out. And you have the whole gym to yourself. It's amazing. And I know some people may have religious, responsibilities where for some reason on a certain holiday they just cannot do any type of work, regardless, because I know that's the thing. But if religion is not part of it, try to go to the gym when others deem not to go to the gym. Do not let society tell you, oh, just because it's a 3-day weekend, oh, just because it's Christmas break, or let's just do a real life. It's almost Thanksgiving. Next week is Thanksgiving, right? Oh, just because it's Thanksgiving, oh, don't go to the gym. And then if you go to the gym, you look weird. Because people are like, oh, you're going to the gym and it's Thanksgiving Day? What's wrong with you? People look at you like you're crazy. Do not conform to society. Do what you want. Like, for instance, I don't know what day Thanksgiving falls on, but let's just say it's on a Thursday. Because it's always on a Thursday. Is it not? I feel like Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. But anyway, let's just say this year, 2025, Thanksgiving falls on a Thursday. And for some reason, you have it on your list that every Thursday you do legs at the gym, right? And when Thursday comes around, you wake up, you feel good, you have energy, you look at your schedule and it says Thursday, I have to go to the gym and do legs. I'm sorry, I burped, I'm sorry. That's just burp, I'm sorry. And then you say to yourself, well, it's Thanksgiving, should I really go to the gym? Should I really? But it's like, but I have energy, I feel like I could go, but I don't want to go. Go anyway. Let people judge you because they're honestly jealous. The people who usually say, oh, you're going to the gym and it's like Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, it's 4th of July, why are you going to the gym? Let them be jealous of you. Usually people who have discipline, usually people who have goals, usually don't put other people down. It's usually the fat people, the lazy people, you know what I mean, that say, oh, you're going to the gym, but it's like 1 a.m., why are you going to the gym? You know what I mean? It's always the people who stay at home, watching TV, playing video games, they have posture like this, right? It's usually those type of people. So don't get offended. Use it as motivation, use it as discipline to prove them wrong. So work when others don't. Surround yourself with purpose. This also ties back to step 4 of how to make goals. Surround yourself with the right people. When you change your environment and timing, you'll notice the difference in the crowd. Early morning or late night gym sessions attract different focused individuals who work quietly and effectively. This isn't just an exercise, it's about being around energy that mirrors your goals. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your life. Surround yourself, well, that quote's very true. You know, show me your friends, and I'll show you your life. Show me your environment, and I'll show you your life. Surround yourself with people who are serious about their goals. Notice the difference when you work among disciplined peers versus those distracted by phones, gossip, or habits of the machine. Do the opposite of what the world expects you to do. The world tells you when to rest, when to relax, when to go to sleep, when to eat. My mom's doing dishes. Self-improvement requires strategic opposition to these norms. If Tuesday is Christmas and it happens to be your leg day, like I just talked about this, do legs anyway. If it's Sunday and most people are resting, use that time to work on your goals. Unless it's for religious purposes, because I know that God rested on Sunday. Vitaly Zordkovsky said, he's a YouTuber, by the way. Your life, his famous quote is, your life, your choice. Even if you don't agree, well, even if I don't agree with everything he does and says, because he is pushing 40 and he's very immature for his age, and he's in prison right now. He really is, but in his early days, I used to watch him, and his famous quote of your life, your choice. Even if you don't agree with everything that he says, one truth holds up. It's that quote. You are in control of your own life, not the world. The world is not in control of you. You are in control of the world, not the machine. When you stop living for the algorithm, the work week, or societal expectations, you start living for yourself. You reclaim your time, energy, and purpose. Stop consuming, start creating. Many of us lived consumed by the machine, unless endless TV, social media, or video games. My life used to revolve around only consumption. The only few things that I typically would think about beforehand, before self-improvement was, I wonder what I'm going to watch when I get home. I wonder what Netflix show am I going to watch at dinner time. I never thought about walking my dog daily. I never thought about practicing the piano. Or creating meaningful work. The day I stopped consuming self-improvement content and started creating my own self-improvement content, or self-improvement lifestyle, was the day I became truly insane. Stop consuming and start creating. The machine thrives on consumers. You want to become a creator. Use the extra hours you have, the quiet moments, the off-peak times to create, practice, and build your future. Become a creator, not a fucking consumer. Apply it to all your goals. Extra hours are not just for the gym. This principle applies to anything: studying a language, writing a book, practicing music, or creating content. Use your time when others won't, or when others aren't, or won't. Avoid distractions. Protect your energy. Prioritize your highest value goals only. Start slow. Commit to 1 hour, 1 session, or 1 task per week, 1 task per day. Build consistency. Consistency. I gotta practice that word. First, always build consistency first. And then you can expand. Use weekends, early mornings, late nights, or holidays to your advantage. Let the world rest while you work towards your vision. Going back to step 2, I believe. Is it step 2? Or step 2? Yeah, going back to step 2 of obligation hours is that if you have more time on the weekend, because you're off, you have 10 extra hours because you're not at work for those 10 hours. Use it wisely. Use your extra hours wisely. Don't waste it. And then during the week, because you went to work for 12 hours a day, you're tired. Take that as a rest day. But use your extra hours that you have in the day to your advantage. Key takeaways. Identify extra hours in your week, weekends, early mornings, late nights, holiday breaks. Holiday breaks. Number 2, perform high priority goals during those hours and focus and efficiency. Number 3, experiment with timing and environment to find the most productive setting. 4, surround yourself with people who share your same energy and focus. 5, do the opposite of what society expects you to do. Resist resting when you can advance. 6, stop consuming aimlessly. Start creating intentionally. 7, reclaim your life from the machine and align it with your personal purpose. Use these extra hours wisely. That are your secret weapon. When others take a rest, you can take that time to build. When others conform, you stand out. When others consume, you create. Take back what is yours, your time, your energy, and your life. Step 8, track your progress and visualize your goals. Step 8, track your progress and visualize your schedule. Moving on to step 8 is tracking your progress and finding a system for your schedule that actually works for you. I say schedule style because it's not enough to just write things down. You need to see your schedule every day. You need to know what day it is, which hobbies or goals you need to complete, and in what order. For example, here's what I do. I write my schedule on a piece of paper with an ink pen and tape it to my closet door right beside my bed. Why? Because during the day, if I get confused, lost, or forget what day it is, I just look it up and see my plan. If today is Tuesday or Wednesday, I immediately know what I need to accomplish. Right now, I don't have it posted on my door right now because I'm in the process of cleaning my room, reorganizing it. It's for a video later down the road. You'll see. I even have it here. So right here on my closet, now I have it taped on my closet door now. Cleaned up my room. So essentially what I have is the schedule. I have rules. I'll talk about that a bit later in the video. And then here, this is my schedule. And what I do Monday through Sunday. I'll go more in depth later in that video as well. And then here, so that I don't get confused throughout the week, this is a tally list. So these numbers up here are how many tally marks that there needs to be. So I practice the piano, 4 times a week. 4 times a week for the guitar, then reading. Birds. So what birds are is that when I wake up in the morning to improve my eyesight, what I do is I do far distant viewing later in the video. I'll talk about this a lot later. I believe in unit 4 or unit 5, I'll talk about that. It's very important to get morning sunlight when you first wake up. So what I do is that I find 5 birds and I stare at it in the sky, or I do an airplane. So what I do is I basically just find 5 flying objects, and that's 6 days a week. Drink 10 cups of water 7 days a week. Walk up the stairs. Failed that one. I do a thing where I walk up the stairs 20 times a day, about 5 to 6 times a week, just for my exercise, and I failed that week. And then do push-ups, twice a week. I have a resistance band, so I do 1 bicep, back, chest, shoulders, and etc. Calves, I just do 20 standing calf raises. So this is just my tally list. You can do this or not. This is what really helps me mark it off as I go throughout the week. Even if your schedule has only one goal, write it down. Even if you're sure you won't forget about it, seeing it frequently, reinforcing it. Reinforcing this. Even if your schedule only has one goal, write it down anyway. Even if you're sure you won't forget about it, write it down anyway. Because seeing it frequently reinforces you to actually achieve your goals. The more often you see it, the more likely you are to achieve it, and the more likely you believe it, the more likely you are to achieve it. Finding a schedule style that works for you. There are tons of ways to track your schedule. Some people, like Rob Dyrdek, track their day on a Google spreadsheet by the minute. I'm not even kidding. Look this up. Rob Dyrdek literally tracks his day by the minute. I'm not even joking. Literally minute by minute. You can look this up yourself. I'm not even joking. He plans his entire day down to the minute. Some people prefer tracking it by the hour, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., go to the gym, 9 a.m., do X, 10 a.m., do Y, and then so on. For me, I personally follow the bullet point system. Here's how it works, or here's what I do that works for me. Maybe it'll work for you. Label each day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then under each day, create bullet points of each goal or hobby you want to complete for that day. For example, Monday, I read and I do the guitar. Tuesday, I do the Korean and piano. Wednesday, I read, do the guitar. Thursday, Korean, piano. Friday, read, guitar. Saturday, Korean, piano. Sunday, Korean, guitar, piano. I haven't wrote down YouTube anywhere on the schedule because YouTube is one of those goals where I have it in my rule book. I created rules for this schedule too, where I need to do at least 15 to 20 hours of YouTube a day. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, a week. And so sometimes I'll edit a YouTube video 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, or I'll skip a day, but as long as it equals out to 15 hours or 20 hours, then I'm okay. But notice how the bullet point system isn't time oriented. It doesn't matter if I do YouTube in the morning or at night. What matters is that I just get it done anyway. I personally experimented with the time oriented schedule. The 7 a.m. wake up, 8 a.m. do this, 9:30 take a poop. But it drove me crazy because I always felt like I was rushed. Because if I woke up 1 minute behind schedule and the schedule said 7 a.m. wake up and it's 7:01 a.m., it drove me crazy. Or if in my schedule it was 8 p.m. study Korean and it's 8:30, I feel like I'm 30 minutes behind schedule. It drove me crazy because I always felt like I was being rushed. I was behind schedule, worried I wasn't keeping up, and sometimes my health conditions slowed me down in the mornings or at nights, and I ended up being stressed out about it. So doing the hour by hour didn't really help because sometimes I'll wake up and I wasn't feeling it, and some days I move a lot slower than others. And some people thrive on that level of structure of 8 a.m., 9 p.m., 9 a.m. do this, and that's completely fantastic for them. Find what works for you and experiment. I experimented with every type of schedule style, but what works for me is the bullet point system. And I feel like this system keeps me very accountable. Whereas a bullet point system may not be accountable for someone, you really have to experiment with what works for you in the end. And these are just tips for tracking your schedule. You can use highlighters, different colors, or notebooks. And taping your schedule where you can see it every day, that's a big one. That really has helped me, seeing it every day. Or you can save it as your screensaver on your phone or computer so that every time you check your phone, you can look at it. And then experiment. Try the bullet point system first, and if it doesn't feel right, try something else. The key is, if you don't track your progress, you won't know where to start or how to end. Tracking your schedule is just like tracking your goals. It gives you clarity, accountability, and a visual reminder of what you need to accomplish every day. If you see your goals, then you need to see your schedule as well. So see them every day. It makes sense. If you're seeing your goals every day, like we talked about earlier in this video, very early, hours ago, right? Many hours ago. And then you should see your schedule as well. Step 9 is to set rules for your schedule. I kind of talked about this about 10 minutes ago, but I'll talk about this again. Step 9 is to set rules. In my opinion, step 9 is the most fun. In my opinion, out of all of this goal setting and schedule building, I believe this step is the most fun, and I'll tell you why. For me, this step is where you can take full control of your life, where you can set boundaries for yourself, and where you can define the framework within which your goals can thrive in. Set rules. Every goal, every schedule needs a set of rules to follow. These rules are your roadmap to success. They tell you what counts and what doesn't, and what to do if things don't go perfectly according to plan. They give you structure, accountability, and clarity. For example, my rules cater to my own goals in life, but yours can cater to yours. That sentence makes no sense. For example, my rules cater to my own goals, but yours can cater to yours. Huh? This doesn't make any sense. Cater your own schedule to your own goals, alright? Everyone's rules will look differently depending on their priorities, health, energy level, hobbies, and lifestyle. The important thing is to define rules so you always know how to measure your progress. Alright, my rules for hobbies. This as a personal example. Oh, this is pretty long. That's what she said. I don't remember step 9 being this long. Damn. Alright, let's take my hobbies as an example. Korean, guitar, and piano. The rule is simple. I practice 4 times a week, 30 minutes per session. Why 4 days and why 30 minutes? Because it's enough to see progress without overwhelming myself. Considering my other commitments and health conditions, I believe that 4 sessions is a good balance for me because it's not too few and it's not too many. Because again, I'm still doing the goal a majority out of the week, and it's enough to build momentum and enough to maintain consistency. Sounds strict, right? But here's the thing, life happens. Some days I don't hit the scheduled session. Maybe I skipped Korean on a Tuesday because I felt lazy or I just wasn't feeling it that day. Does that mean that I failed? No. It carries over. I make it up just the next day or a different day. Maybe on a Wednesday, Monday, or a Saturday. Or a Friday because I practice Korean on Saturday. But the rule is that as long as I do 4 sessions, 30 minutes each, and then that's what counts. The principle applies to guitar and piano and everything else I do. The rule is I can't practice all 2 hours in one day because 30 times 4 leads up to 2 hours each. So let's just say, so if you combine that, I'm practicing the guitar 2 hours a week and 2 hours at the piano, so 4 hours in total, right? And so the rule is that I can't practice 4 hours. Well, the rule is that I can't practice 2 hours of the guitar and the piano all in one day and call it good and call it a week. That doesn't work for building skills. The rule is ensure steady progress throughout the week and not in bursts. 4 sessions, 30 minutes each session, no matter the day, is what matters. And so, I have a rule where a full 24 hours has to pass for it to count as a session. I have it set in my schedule of, every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, I study Korean as an example. That's 4 sessions for 30 minutes, right? But maybe for 1 week, I don't do Korean at all. Oh, I have to make it up. Or it's the last day of the week. Oh, I have to make it up. And then one day I may practice the Korean for 2 hours all in one day and call it good. No, that's not how it works. The rule is that as long as it's 4 separate sessions spread across the week for 30 minutes, then it's okay. That's my rule. Whether it's 4 days in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or spread across Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I have my schedule the way it is. These are just set days. I would say about 80% of the time. I'm really good with, okay, if it's Monday, I have to read. Okay, it's Wednesday, I gotta read. I'm pretty good. Sometimes I don't read a book on a Monday, but that just means on a Tuesday, I have to do a little bit more. Or if on a Saturday, Sunday, since I don't read, maybe I'll read instead on that week. I hope you really understand what I'm saying. I know that sounded confusing. Right? And, with the piano as well. I practice 2 hours a week on the piano. That leads up to 30 minutes 4 times a week. 30 times 4 leads up to 2 hours. And I I can't practice the piano on a Friday night for 2 hours. And yep, I done my piano for the week, I'm done. No, that doesn't count. A full 24 hours has to pass, 4 sessions. And it can't be in the morning I do a 30-minute session, then at night I do a 30, no. 1 session per day, 4 times a week, 30 minutes each. Flexibility and carryover. Flexibility is crucial. Your rules need to allow for reality. For instance, some weeks I break the day Pacific schedule. I might do Korean on a Monday through Thursday instead of the usual Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday split. It doesn't matter what days of the week I practice as long as I complete my 4 sessions of 30 minutes and I am fulfilling my rule. This teaches an important principle. Consistency matters more than rigid timing. You want your schedule to work for you, not to stress you out. Rules are about creating a framework where you can succeed, not a cage that makes you feel guilty. YouTube rules. YouTube works differently from my other hobbies that require incremental learning. My rule for YouTube is 15 hours per week, 15 to 20, both minimum and maximum. So I know that I don't overwork myself or underperform. That's what she said. Sometimes I'll work 2 hours a day for 7 days of a week for it to add up to 15. Sometimes I'll do 4 or 8 hours on Pacific days. It's kind of flexible. What matters is that I hit a minimum of 15 focused hours of YouTube work. YouTube is about execution and output, so flexibility and session length is fine. Unlike language, piano, or guitar, where skills build gradually, YouTube rewards deep focus and completion. YouTube is kind of just one of the things where this kind of just have to get it done, but that's why I have it the way that I do. That I can hypothetically only work on YouTube 3 times a week. That just means I have to spend 8 hours a day on it, or 4 hours a day on it. But I spread it across throughout the week. Resetting hours. Another part of my rules is the weekly reset. Technically, all hours reset Sunday night. So when Monday begins, I start fresh, but really my rules and the start of the week begins Monday, but technically they restart Sunday night. So when I go to bed, I wake up Monday, I start fresh. And so by Sunday night, my rules require that I have to complete 4 sessions each of Korean, piano, and the guitar. I have to log in a minimum of 15 hours of YouTube with a maximum of 20 hours and finish 3 reading sessions of a book, 3 chapters. Sometimes it's 5 chapters or 6 chapters, but when it comes to reading, I don't like to time my reading sessions just because I feel like I'm being rushed. And there are times, especially because right now, this is one heck of a book. And the thing with the 48 Laws of Power there, the author, Robert Greene, uses tons and tons of vocabulary that I do not recognize. It uses a lot of big words that I do not know how to pronounce. And so every time I come across a word, I look it up on Google and see if I can learn how to pronounce it. That's one way that I'm also improving on my speech impediment. I'll also make a separate video, months later down the line for people, if you are interested, on how I eliminated my speech impediment. And so there are weeks where I read only 3 or 5 chapters. It kind of just depends. Sometimes I'll read for 1 hour straight. And I usually just stop reading if I feel tired. Because the thing with reading, I'll get super into reading, and then after 45 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm done reading. Right. I don't really like to time myself reading because I feel rushed. But this reset ensures that each week starts on track, no matter how many sessions carried over from the previous week. It's like clearing the board, so you can start new without baggage. And then, as you can see too on the picture here, I even have a calendar, well, I call it a calendar, where it's like week 1, week 2, week 3, and then so on. And then throughout the week, I check off if I completed the goal, and then at the end, I check off if I completed it or not. And right now, I probably mentioned this before. I'm filming a video titled Muck Mode that'll be out probably 2 or 3 months because I'm focusing on this one. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm tearing down all of, like you could see in the beginning of when this video first started, I had papers everywhere, and one of the things that I need to accomplish by the end of this challenge, the Muck Mode challenge, is that I need to reorganize my room and make it cleaner, because I felt like it was a bit too chaotic in the background. So I started Muck Mode on November 8th, and I'm ending Muck Mode when I'm done posting the whole 6 units. So I'm estimating January 1 or January 10 is the end of Muck Mode. And for the whole series of Muck Mode, I've actually been doing YouTube probably like 20 hours a week. Or a little over 20. Just because of this video. I really want this video to be out in January. Or the full version. It'll be out in January. Rules for leisure. Even entertainment has rules. I have to make a rule list for rest. Even your rest days have rules. I only allow myself to watch TV Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Only at night. And only after all my hobbies and chores are done. But I can't watch more than those 4 days. And if I skip a TV day, because maybe if on a Tuesday I don't feel like watching TV, that just means it carries over to the next day. But it's still, the 4-day limit per week remains. I have no time limit when it comes to those days I'm watching TV. It's more of the rule of 4 days a week I can watch TV after all my goals are done. And there's been times where I'll probably watch 1 hour or 3 or 4 hours. Because there are times where I'll watch TV in the middle of the afternoon. Like, I'm sorry, I just have to be honest with you. I love watching movies. But as long as I complete my goals by the end of the day, then it's fine. And then there's other times where I get lazy, and then if it's like a Wednesday and it's my day to watch TV, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just do everything the next day, right? That just means on Thursday, I gotta do Korean, I gotta read, I gotta do piano, and sometimes I have one of those days where I'm just gonna lay in bed and watch TV all day. But this teaches discipline for leisure too. Having fun is allowed, but it comes after being productive, not before. Rules create a balance between work and rest, and between focus and relaxation. Relaxation, yes. Why these rules work? Rules work because they provide structure for your week. 2, they prevent procrastination over overloading. 3, they allow flexibility while maintaining accountability. 4, they separate your work from leisure. And 5, they ensure constant progress over time. Rules are not meant to be punished. Oh, I'm sorry. I delete that. Rules are not meant to be a punishable offense. They're not meant to punish you. They're a tool for freedom, not restriction. They allow you to live intentionally without feeling lost or unsure of what to do. I just want to clear this up, that when people hear the word rule, or the rule, the law, follow the rule, it's not meant as a bad thing. It's not meant to punish you. It's not. I just want to put that out there. It's meant as a tool to help you succeed. It's meant for a tool to hold you accountable. So in summary, set rules. They give you structure and accountability. Rules can be as flexible as long as weekly goals are met, or as flexible as you want it to be. Break goals into manageable sessions, not long, infrequent marathons. Include rules for both productive and leisure activities. Reset weekly to stay consistent. So reset your rules like I do every Monday. My hours reset. Everything resets. Track and adjust rules based on progress and personal needs and goals. Rules make your schedule workable, flexible, and fun, while still ensuring steady, measurable progress. Rules are important so you don't lose track of your progress. I'm gonna put this in bold. Rules are important so you don't lose your progress. And rules are important because sometimes when we think that we aren't improving, we actually are improving. We are our greatest critics. And sometimes we are too hard on ourselves. We say that, oh, I don't need a break. In reality, you probably do. You probably deserve a break. It's very important for you to create rules around your goals, around your schedule, and then create rules to relax. You need to. And then creating your rules for relaxing, it keeps you accountable because you don't fall back into that deep habit. When people think, oh, you should relax, it doesn't mean you should go out and do LSD for the very first time. It could probably mean just stay home. You know what I mean? You don't have to go all out, right? Work hard, play hard. Sometimes play hard, that's what she said. You don't have to really take that as literal. You know, some people, when they say take a break, they probably go to Miami and do cocaine for the first time. You know what I mean? So you need to create rules so that the days that you do take a break, you don't get an impulsive thought of getting a face tattoo and moving to Miami and doing body shots off of a homeless man's belly button. I'm just saying. They keep you accountable. This is what I mean. 15. 4 sessions. Bada 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 bada. And then complete. This is actually a lie. I haven't actually completed these yet. It's just that this is a new sheet of paper. My last sheet of paper, because since I'm reorganizing my room, I tore it off and started new. But for example, today is Monday. Hold on. You don't believe me or not? I just do that as an example. Today's Monday. Today's Monday the 17th. So, yeah, I know. I know. It looks terrible. I'm in the process of reorganizing the whole room. So, I finally have these posted. This is just an example. I haven't even completed this yet. This is even week 1. Technically, it is week 1. I haven't even completed this yet. But this is what my tally list is supposed to look like. I already threw away the old piece of paper. When I tore this down, this is a fresh new piece of paper. I really hope you understand. So, for example, every day when I do YouTube, okay. I'll just start fresh, like for a day. Actually today I did about an hour and a half, but right now I'm actually in the process of editing. So today I plan on just doing 2 hours. I gotta do about 30. That's an ugly too. Today I gotta do 30 more minutes of YouTube for me to equal 2 hours. Piano, I didn't do piano. No, I didn't do guitar. Reading, I haven't done that yet today, but I will. I may do reading tomorrow because it's going to carry over. I'm not sure. Korean, today's Monday. Nope. Birds. Yep, I looked at birds today. 1. Water. Stairs. Yes. Yes. Push up. No, 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 no. And then at the end of the week, if I completed all of my goals, I'd do a check mark or a no check mark. But hypothetically, this is what it's supposed to look like. You know, every day I edit a video. It's supposed to be like 4, cross it off. Then I practiced 2 hours, and I got 6 left. Then today I only practiced 1 hour, then I only did 7, then it adds up to about 15, right? Or it is 15, right? So let's just say today's Monday, I did 2 hours, right? And then tomorrow I'll probably do 2 more hours, that equals to 4, right? And blah, 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 then equals to 15, right? But hypothetically, this is what a week by week is supposed to look like for me, right? It's pretty complex, but once you get a hang of it, it's not that complex at all. Technically, it's week 1 for me, because I tore this paper off. Technically, it's week 1, but I wanted to. Thank you. I'm filming a YouTube video. Do you hear that truck? I just wanted to film what it will look like at the end. Today is Monday. And then also, one thing I want to recognize is that I usually tally this up before I go to bed, because I don't want to be in the middle of the day and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read. Oh yeah, you know, since today is Monday, I'm gonna read at night actually, before I go to bed. But I don't want to tally it because I haven't done it yet. So that means Tuesday when I wake up, I usually do that. I usually mark it off, but usually at night I go through it, because if I wrote down 2 hours when I woke up this morning, having a plan, I would practice 2 hours. It just doesn't feel right to me because it's not completed yet, you know. So after I complete a goal, or before I go to bed, I go through this go through this sheet of paper and see what have I completed. So for the rules, I updated this on November 14th after I tore this down. Every time I get a new sheet of paper, I always put the date on when I updated it. YouTube, 15 hours a week, 20 maximum. Music, guitar, piano, 30 minutes, 4 times a week. Read 3 times a week. Prefer, you know, about 3 chapters per week. Korean, 30 minutes again, 4 times a week. And right now, I'm in the process of writing a book. Either 2 to 4 hours a week, so maybe in a day I can spend 4 hours on it. That's pretty, it's pretty lenient, this 2 to 4 hours a week. And then walk up the stairs 20 times, 5 times a week. It's about 6 actually. It's about 6 actually, but I just do 5 times a week at the least. And do my push-ups twice a week. Then I have a resistance band where I do bicep curls, back rows, chest and shoulders. Calves, I just do standing calf raises. All of that is just once a week. And I stare at birds first thing in the morning. Morning sunlight. And then my hours reset. All of my goals reset every Monday. So I have, oh, technically it's Sunday night, so that when I wake up the next day, on Monday morning it starts. But by Sunday night, all of these goals, all of these tally marks should have 4 tallies, 4 guitar tallies, you know, 3 read, 4 Korean tallies, 6 tally of birds, 7 glasses of, not 7 glasses of water, but 7 tallies of drinking 10 cups of water every day. And then so on. And right here I do, one of my rules is no unnecessary phone or TV consumption. And then I do no TV unless all work is done. And right now I changed it up. Now I can only watch TV Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. But since I watched Back to the Future last night, that counts. Sometimes it carries over. Last night I watched Back to the Future, so I'm not going to watch TV today because right now it's a bit late and I'm editing a YouTube video. Got a little bit of a late start today. Before this piece of paper, I believe the only days I was allowed to watch TV, I believe it was like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, or something like that. But I changed it up. So this is what my schedule looks like. It may look a lot different for me, but this is just an example of what I do. Especially with this tally sheet, I recommend you have a daily log sheet so that you can check off if you worked out or read a book. It really helps. Because then, at the end of the paper, you can see how many check marks you actually have. And then you can adjust to which goals or do you complete more often, or which goals do you complete least often. And then you can ask yourself the why question. Why do I only complete, or why do I complete YouTube more often than not piano more often, right? So you can go through and look at how much progress you actually made throughout the week. And right here too, I scribbled this out. This used to be my college English writing book, and since I only got a couple pages out of it, I thought instead of getting a new notebook, I'll just scribble it out. This is physical progress. So with this is gonna be all of my physical stats of how many push-ups I can do in a row. I still have to write that down. It's still a work in progress. But this is my weight. Today I weighed 139.4 pounds. Yikes, 140. And then you can see at June 29 I weighed 135, and yeah, not very good gaining weight. Yeah, I actually had a sheet of paper like this taped to my closet, and before I tore it down, I copied and pasted what that sheet of paper said. And this is the new piece of paper. I already threw away the original, but I really wanted to track my weight. I'm trying to weigh myself first thing in the morning, about every Monday morning, so I can keep track of my weight. And then I forgot. Yeah. And then this is gonna be my weight list. So I always fold the page so that I know where it's at. It's easy to find. And then in the beginning, it's probably gonna be how many push-ups I can do, and things of that nature as well. It's very important to track your progress like this. You can do whatever you want, or track it in a way that is unique to you. Step 10 is to create alternative schedules. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to stick to a routine is doing the exact same schedule week after week. It sounds productive on paper, doing the same thing every day, but in reality, it quickly becomes boring, repetitive, and exhausting. Do you remember going back to, oh my god, I just did this today. To be honest, they all blend into one. Oh my god. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, what is this? Yeah, step 6 on, use absence and presence. Too much presence diminishes the value of the goal that we talked about the 48 laws of power on law 16, right? So, step 10, they go pretty hand in hand with step 6. Yeah, that's why creating alternative schedules is so powerful. It keeps your life interesting, your energy high, and your motivation intact. Think of it like this: instead of having one rigid schedule A that you follow every single week, try schedule A, schedule B, schedule C, or even schedule D. Rotate them each week so that your brain doesn't get too used to the same pattern, so you don't start dreading the days ahead. For example, let's say you're working on your YouTube channel. Week 1 is schedule a 15-hour work week, heavy filming, editing, content creation. You're pushing hard but making big improvements. And then, week 2, when Monday starts again, when the next Monday follows around, this is schedule B. You follow a 12-hour work week, which is a lot lighter. You do 3 hours less. You're still doing the same amount of YouTube work, but just cutting it down to 12 hours instead of 15 hours. And then week 3 is following a schedule C, maybe a mix. Maybe do about 10 hours of YouTube, 5 hours learning or physical tasks, balancing energy between mental and physical effort. And then schedule D is reflection and review, analyze what worked. Adjust your next month's schedule and give yourself space to grow without pressure. So maybe every like for maybe the first week of the month or the last week of the month, you can take a whole week off and just reflect. You can do that. It just depends on how you feel. And so by altering schedules like this, you prevent burnout and you keep your weekly routine fresh and exciting. You're not just pushing through, you're strategically managing your energy and creativity and focus. I'll even insert pictures here just as an example. Tips to make it work. Pre-plan your rotations. Before the month starts, map out schedules A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Knowing what type of week is coming reduces stress and indecision. Listen to your energy levels. Put demanding creative tasks on high energy days and lighter or administrative tasks on low energy days. So on the days that you feel high energy are probably the days you should probably vacuum the house, go to the gym. And on the days where you don't really feel like going out, you feel a bit lazy. On the days where maybe you do some ladder work, maybe read a book. And then 3 is build in flexibility. Life is unpredictable. Allow for some buffer time in each schedule so you adapt without falling behind. Another tip is number 4 is to track what works. Note which schedule feels the most productive or enjoyable. Use that feedback to tweak future rotations. And lastly, another tip is to just keep it plain and simple. It's quality over quantity. Less is always more. Start with just 2 different schedules. Just have a schedule A and schedule B. And expand to more if needed. If you want variety without overcomplicating your life, just have 2 different schedules. Rotating schedules is a game changer. It keeps your routine dynamic, your motivation high, and your goals within reach without feeling like a constant grind. Step 11 is to be self-aware. Being self-aware is crucial when it comes to making a schedule. Step 11 isn't just about knowing your goals or tasks. It's about understanding yourself, your habits, and external forces that influence your time. You need to become self-aware of your destruction. You need to become self-aware of the machine looking at you at all times. Understanding the machine. For example, when you feel tired, what do you crave the most? TV, corn. You want to lay down, and that's the machine talking. That's the algorithm talking to you. The next time you sit down to watch TV, or the next time you sit down and watch corn, before you do all that, the next time you sit down to watch TV, before completing your chores, hobbies, goals, or anything else, ask yourself the why question. Remember back like 3 hours ago when we talked about the why? Ask yourself, why am I craving TV time? Ask yourself the why question. Why am I craving TV time when I am always tired? Why am I craving checking my phone? Because it's an addiction. Ever wonder, let's just say back in the 15th centuries before pizza was invented, back then when people craved a food, they didn't crave pizza because they never got that taste in their mouth, right? They craved something sweet like an apple or something. But now when people crave food, they want pizza because they have that taste in their mouth. You know what I mean? It's like when people smoke for the first time and they get addicted to smoking. You don't think about smoking because you're not addicted to it. But because you're addicted to it, the taste is already in your mouth. You know what I mean? Observing others. In my personal experience, when I go out at night to take my dogs out to go pee at around 9 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m., I notice both of my neighbors, to the left and to the right of me. I live in a suburban neighborhood, and we're pretty close to the easement line in the fence. We live pretty close to our neighbors, and sometimes when the blinds are open just right, I can see what they're watching on TV. For example, the neighbor to the right leaves for work at 7 a.m. sharp, but yet at 9 p.m. he's watching TV, Netflix. Sometimes I could see the Netflix homepage, him just scrolling, but this tells me that he likely gets less than 8 hours of sleep, assuming he wakes up early to get ready for work. On the weekends, the TV is on all day, and I think to myself, maybe he works hard, maybe he wants to relax, maybe it's on for background noise as he does the dishes or something, but every night the TV is on at the same time. Another observation, Netflix. I just said this. One time I saw him scrolling through his Netflix homepage. This led me to reflect. Am I making the most out of my time? Perhaps he is, and perhaps I am not. But it pushed me to analyze my own life and habits. Because let's just say he goes to bed at 10. Because every time I go outside at 9, the living room lights is on and I can see the glimmer of the TV being on because the blinds are left slightly open. He leaves it slightly open. I don't know why. And let's just say he goes to bed at 10, right? So that's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what he goes to bed. Wait, never mind. I thought that was like less than 6 hours, but it's not. I just can't fucking count. So he probably gets about 8 hours of sleep a night. If he wakes up at 6 on the dot, because he leaves for work at 7. Sometimes he gets out at like 6:45 or 6:50 out of his car. So yeah, that's like 8 hours of sleep. Because let's just say hypothetically he goes to bed at 10. So that's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. I just can't count. You know what? Never mind. You know what? Fuck me. Fuck my opinion. That guy can watch TV whenever he wants, right? I have to just stop judging. You know what? Never mind. Looking at the world, I'm gonna keep that in. Okay, looking at the world around you. I started looking at the world differently through a self-aware lens. For example, at the grocery store, I noticed nearly everyone is glued to their phones, walking without awareness of their own surroundings. In college, during my last year, I started to observe this pattern more clearly. Everyone walked through the hallways, head down, absorbed by their phones. I asked myself, is this really the world that we live in right now? Controlled by machines. Kids complain, people complain about neck pain and back pain. Hunchbacks glued to their phones. Even in my real life, I noticed my own parents after work, chores or cooking, all they did was watch TV. They're retired now, but all they do is watch TV, and I've noticed that they have no hobbies, no goals, just entertainment. I realize that could easily have been my future, and there's nothing wrong with not doing nothing productive, because I can't. I have no room to speak. I don't have a job. I have no income, right? I don't pay the groceries. I have free food. I have free electricity, free water. You know, like, who am I to talk, right? But I don't want to be like that when I'm older. I don't want to have to work all of my life and have financial freedom, but spend the last 30 to 40 to 20 years of my life watching TV. And I saw that in my future and I didn't want that. Like for instance, my mom, she wants to learn how to sew. She has a sewing machine upstairs and she hasn't even started learning it. When we lived in Tennessee, she said the same thing. She was going to learn how to sew and she never did, and she brought it with her and she still hasn't learned it. And she also wants to lose 10 pounds, and I'm trying to help her to lose 10 pounds, and she always gives up because it's too hard. And like my dad wants to walk more, and he uses the rain as an excuse not to go outside and walk. It's too cold out, it's raining out. Oh, it's too hot, it's too cold. And I understand, he slept outside because he was in the military. I get it, he never wants to experience walking in the rain again. I get it. But even I tell him, what about you just walk around in the house? And he said, I don't like walking around the house. That's just not who I am. And so I just see myself like, am I the selfish one? Am I too self-aware? Do I think that they're being lazy, but yet I can't really speak for them because I have no income? Like I'm unemployed. Like all I do with my free time is make YouTube videos. I eat my mom's food. I play guitar, I play piano, I read a book, and I'm not really doing anything. Yeah, I apply for jobs, but I don't really apply for a job every day. It's probably like once every 3 or 4 days I look for a job. And it's like, how many more weeks or months do I have to be unemployed? I fill out these applications online and I never get a call back. It's disappointing, right? So like, who am I to judge people, right? But I just started to observe this pattern more. Everyone walking through the hallways, heads down, absorbed by their phones. People complain about neck pain, back pain, glued to their phones, and I realized that, because I just said that, I realized that it could have easily been my future. So becoming present in the moment is self-awareness starts with small actions. Once you wake up and resist being glued to your phone, you begin to see the world more clearly, like I did as just my example. Observe how many people are genuinely present when you talk to them. How many are distracted by their devices? Even in the gym, many rely on phones for music, scrolling, or checking notifications. When I first started self-improvement, I listened to music while working out. Later, I stopped doing that. I stopped taking my phone to the gym because it was a distraction. You need to distance yourself from the machine so it will not consume your time. And that's the thing about the machine, that it has ruined our attention span. Because sometimes when you go to the gym, the music that they're blasting isn't your favorite, and then you get mad, right? Not using my phone has taught me self-control. Well, when I used to work out, I don't work out anymore because of my health conditions. But becoming self-aware has taught me how to have self-control. If I was working out, if I was doing an arm workout and a Taylor Swift song came on, right? It didn't ruin my day. Yeah, I was like, oh man, not this song. Like, oh man, right? But it didn't ruin the mood. And then you could easily say, well, I can just go get my phone, it's in the car, and listen to whatever I want. But then, too, sometimes there's songs that you add in your playlist that when it comes on the playlist, it doesn't fit the vibe, so you keep skipping it. You pull out your phone and skip it. And it's a distraction. It really is, because the time that you spend trying to look for a song to listen to, that's 5 minutes of time that you could have been lifting weights, right? Time is very precious. I mean, that's 5 minutes I could have been already on my way home, if I didn't have wasted my time on the phone. Right? Every minute that you have is very precious to you because you can't make more time. You just can't. People say, oh, you just have to make time. We all have 24 hours in a day. And so don't waste it on things that don't have that much significant to you. Just start small. You don't need to eliminate the machine immediately, or you don't need to eliminate the machine like 100%. Because right now, I'm using the machine right now, as we speak, this computer, the camera. But what I mean is that you need to become present and start small. If you can't live without your phone, unless if you're, a diabetic. I know some people who are diabetic, they have a separate monitor, but there are some people that connect their monitor to the phone. But hypothetically, right, if you can't literally live without your phone, like you need to have your phone in your pocket just because, that's a problem. Yeah, try going 10 minutes without it. I mean, try going 10 minutes with your phone in a different room and observe how you feel. Do you feel anxiety? And do this safely. If you need it to live, like if you have a heart monitor or you're diabetic and you need your phone on you because it's linked to Bluetooth, and then keep your phone on you. But for anyone else who is healthy enough, who doesn't rely on a phone, you need to assess on how you feel if you don't take your phone to the gym. Go walk your dog without having your phone. You need to assess who you are. And some people may say, well, I need my phone just in case someone kidnaps me. There's a time and a place. Like, for example, when I just have to be honest, when I walk my dogs, I always take my phone with me. Just because even though I don't really walk that far, I try to stay pretty close to my house because with my health conditions, I don't know when I'll pass out. But usually I'll just walk in circles around my house, just around the backyard, because we also have a park in the HOA, and I'll usually just walk in a whole block just in a walking circle. But I always have my phone on me just in case. But then, just for an example, when I was going to the gym very frequently, I didn't take my phone with me if there was a lot of people, like if it was on our, Monday afternoon or something. I didn't take my phone with me because, if I had some kind of heart attack or something, there's people going to be around me, so I didn't worry about that. And that was before my health conditions, right? So I really made sure that I wasn't in any sort of danger. Or if I go out, like even now, about 3 days ago, I had my haircut. I got a haircut for the first time in 3 months. I left my phone at home because I was with my mom and she has a phone, so there's no use for me to have a phone when I was going to be with her 100% of the time. Like, do you really need a phone when you're around someone who has a phone? You know what I mean? And so every time I go out with my parents, I don't take my phone because there's no use for me to have a phone when my mom and dad has a phone. Like, if either one of us is in trouble, we can use one of my dad or my mom's phone, and we're not going to be separated. When we go grocery shopping, I'm always with them by their side. Right? But if you're alone and you're going grocery shopping by yourself, you should probably take your phone with you just in case, because you never know. But there's always a time and a place. If you're at home, in the comfort of your own home, there's probably no valid excuse for you to have your phone in your pocket at all times of the day. That's not a good excuse, but if you're out and about, probably, if you're alone, doing chores, running errands, it probably is safer to take a phone because you just never know what could happen. But there's always a time and a place, and there's been studies shown too that putting your phone in your pocket or holding your phone emits radiation, because with the Wi-Fi, it emits radiation, and it's actually true. It's been linked to cancer, and it's been linked to inflammation. More times, it's been linked to more inflammation and not cancer. This inflammation of the bones and muscles that people who hold their phones in their hands, well, everybody picks up their phone with their hands, they're more prone to having arthritis. And then also when you lay down on your bed, and then you have your phone, propped it on your chest or stomach, those people are more prone to breast cancer and colon cancer due to the radiation of the phone. And to prevent that, you could either just not use your phone at all, or there's a phone case that you can buy that blocks out radiation. I'll insert a picture here and a link somewhere, probably not. Insert a picture. Very expensive. And some of my patients may call bullshit on it, but it's very true. You read about it, do your research, and it's a known thing that using your phone causes literally inflammation in the body and cancer. More so inflammation, not so much cancer, but especially when you lay down and you hold your phone close to your stomach or your chest, those people are at higher risk of developing colon cancer and breast cancer. So just start small. If you listen to music while walking your dog, try the first 10 minutes of the walk without music, and then the last 10 minutes you can listen to music to enjoy your walk. Gradually increase this no device period. The first 20 minutes or the first 30 minutes. When you first wake up, try to go an hour without looking at your phone. This practice strengthens your ability to escape the machine. And also, I know that some people work, and I know that a lot of work, especially now, or different types of occupation, you need to have your phone on you at all times, especially if you are a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. Especially if you're an on-call surgeon, you never know if somebody could have been in an accident and they need you at 1 a.m. I know that a lot of surgeons, they need to have their phones on at all times, just because you just never know who could go into the ER. But take that with what you will. Cater your lifestyle to your goals. So if you are able, do not bring your phone in every room, or do not bring your phone. You don't really need your phone if you're gonna be around the house. You probably don't need it, but if you're out and about, probably need it, right? But if you're just staying in your room, you don't really need it in your pocket. Do you really? But this strengthens your ability to escape the machine and become more self-aware. Ask yourself, am I making the most out of my time? Self-awareness also helps you support others. If you notice a friend struggling with distractions, guide them willingly, but don't force them, right? They have to be willing to change. The reason why I do this method is that if I have my phone on me, especially if I'm out in public, I will most likely be on my phone at any time possible. For example, I was 3 days ago, got my hair cut, and when we got there, we set an appointment for 1:45 but it ended up around 2:30 of me actually getting my hair cut. But hey, it's whatever, right? Between of me and my mom sitting down, waiting for my haircut, I could have easily pulled out my phone. But instead, I just waited patiently. I listened to the conversation. I tried, because everyone was Korean. I went to a Korean salon. And I lived in the moment. And I became just self-aware. I was people watching. I was looking at people and just that girl's a bit weird. And I was just looking around, and I didn't crave looking at my phone. Or on the way to the haircut, or on the way back home, I could have been on my phone, just scrolling, checking how many subscribers I have on my phone. And checking my phone to see how many subscribers I have isn't gonna make my day any better because I'm still gonna get my hair cut. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna go home and it's not gonna change. Like, I have 130 subscribers, right? Me checking it every 10 minutes, it isn't gonna magically change. It's only gonna make me feel worse. And so, you can try that approach, that the next time you go out with, especially friends, elect not to take your phone. But then you can also, well, what about the pictures? Just tell your friend to send the pictures to you. And then when you come home, you can look at it on your phone when they text you. You don't have to take your phone everywhere with you if you are able. Right? If you're alone, then you should just in case. But if you're around people, and then also if you don't have your phones and your friends make fun of you because of it, and then they're not your real friends. You know what I mean? I'm just sorry. Best friends do not make fun of other friends. Just like Eleven said in Stranger Things, friends don't lie, right? Friends are not mean to each other, right? There's a difference between joking around your friends, like, oh, you don't have a phone, oh, you're an old person, blah blah blah, and then there's a difference to, oh, you don't have your phone, oh, that's weird, right? There's a difference between laughing with your friends and your friends laughing at you because you're trying to distance yourself from the machine. It's all about intention. So try and distance yourself from the machine if you are able to, and this will translate to everything that you do in life. Social media detox. You don't need consistent social media. Delete TikTok if you aren't a content creator, and so on. Post your YouTube video and stop refreshing to see the subscriber counts. I'm talking about myself. I'll post my YouTube video and not even 5 minutes of it being uploaded, I'll check how many views it has. Or I'll check my subscriber count throughout the day. And it won't change overnight. Being self-aware means recognizing what truly matters and letting go of distractions. Looking at how many followers you have will only make your day worse. Because you're still gonna get out of bed, right? You're still gonna eat dinner, you're still gonna go on with your day. The only thing that will change... Okay, why did it just reload? That is so weird. Okay. But the only thing that'll change is whether you lost 1 follower or gained 5 followers. On the days where, like for example, I believe it was last week, I had about 134 subscribers. When the day before I checked it, it was like 131 or 132. And I went, oh man, that's sweet. I gained 3 subscribers overnight. And I checked my phone in the middle of the afternoon and it dictated the way that I felt for the whole day. And then the next day later, I checked it and it went back to 131. I lost 3 subscribers. I don't know if it was the same 3 people or what. And it dictated, again, the whole rest of the day as well. And guess what? I still made another YouTube video. I still went on with my day. Nothing much changed. Why did it refresh the page? That was so weird. Where am I? What the? I'm on step 10, I know that. No, I'm on step 11? Wait, huh? No, because I talked about create alternative schedules. And the biggest miss people. Damn, I didn't realize I was on step 11. My god. Alright, I'm back to reality. Alright, I finally found where I left off. Being self-aware means recognizing what truly matters and letting go of distractions. Observe and reflect. Practice self-awareness consistently. The next time you go out in public, really look around. observe people walking, their posture, observe their posture and their attention. Notice habits like vaping, smoking, and unnecessary profanity. Reflect on these behaviors and contrast your goals and values. These consistent observations and reflection you develop an acute awareness of how time and habits are spent, not just yours, but the world around you. Okay, like for example, I may have to I probably will censor some of these words out because YouTube does mind. I mean, YouTube doesn't mind if you cuss, but YouTube does mind if you say, a certain number of words in a certain set period of time, and I do want to get monetized on this video. But as an example, about 2 months ago, I was selling I had a set of Michael Jordan cards that my brother left over, and I just needed the extra cash, and I had it for so many years. And he's not gonna come get it. I haven't seen my brother in so many years, so I decided to sell it. And this guy, he's about 45 years old. I seen his Facebook marketplace profile, and then we met up at Safeway parking lot, waited for him. He showed, and then right from the get-go, he's like, "Are you? How do I say this? I'm gonna use the word brownie. Okay, I'm gonna use the word brownie." He said, "Are you brownie?" And I said, "Yeah." Then I said, "Are you, dot dot dot?" And he says, "Good brownie to know." Like, and then he said, "Do you have the brownie cards?" And I said, "Yeah, I have the cards." And then I said, my thing is that you give me the cash first. I hold on to the cash, and I'll be standing right here, and I'll give you the cards to look at. Then if you change your mind or whatever you feel like it, if you don't want it, I can just give you back the cash. And he's like, "I'm not gonna brownie do that. That's a scammer. You brownie scammer." Right? And guess what? He didn't end up taking the cards. He didn't. You want to know what he actually did? So eventually he caved in, and he was like, "All right, you brownie, I'm gonna just give you the cash, but you better not steal my brownie money." And I'm not, right? It's literally $35. What am I gonna do with $35? So he looks at the cards, and then he's like, "These are brownie bad. These are brownie. I'm like, oh, I mean, they're in good condition. Then he's like, "You brownie liar." And then he was like, "I want my brownie cash back." Then I was like, "Then give me the cards back." And then he's like, "No, you give me the brownie cards first." And I said, "That's not how it works. Give me the cards first, and then I'll give you the cash first." And then he finally caved in. I gave him back his cash. Well, he gave me the cards first, and I gave him back his cash. And he was like, "You brownie scammer." And then so guess what happened? On the way home, as I was counting the cards, instead of having 24, I had 23. He ended up being the scammer. And also the whole time he kept saying, you're missing a card. You're missing a card." And I told him, "No, I'm not missing a card. There's 24. And it's like, "No, brownie, there's 20, brownie 3. But guess what? He ended up being the scammer. So, you live and you learn. And I used to talk exactly like him, probably not that angrily towards strangers, but around my friends at school, I used to say, I used to swear a lot. And it really brought me back to when I was younger. Like, wow, I used to really talk like that. And if I was his wife, I would be really turned off. And I seen his profile picture. He has a daughter. He's a computer engineer. And he talks like that. That's just something that threw me off. And then when I also hear other people cussing, like, they're out in public, just unnecessary cussing, I'm like, wow. I have matured that much over the years. And so when you don't use social media as much, and when you really become self-aware and you ask yourself the why question, you really start to become aware of how people act and the behavior of other people. you really start to notice things. I didn't really realize how much of a turnoff using unnecessary profanity was. And there's a time and a place, and I know I use profanity. We all do. Most people do. But do you really need to say the brownie word at the end of every sentence? Probably not. Especially when you first meet someone, you know. Where's the brownie cards? Like, bro, chill out. And he was like 6 feet tall, a grown man, and I'm like, what? I'm like 5'2", 5'1". Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? My mom's in the car. Like, what am I gonna do? And so through constant observation and reflection, you develop an acute awareness of how time and habits are spent, not just yours, but the world around you. You will start to begin to look at life differently. You will begin to look at people differently. I'm gonna be honest with you, I used to judge people on what kind of shoes they wore, especially when I was a teenager. Like, that person has a hole in their shoes. But now I don't really judge them for that. It's just something that changes with you, that when you don't use social media, you stop comparing yourself to other people and you start to be a bit more understanding. Like, for example, if you see somebody, if you see somebody on their phone, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're looking at Instagram or TikTok. It could probably mean that they're sending a work email, maybe they're on an important business call, sending an important text to their boss. And so you really look at perspective, because you never know what other people are doing. You know, there's a video that I want you to watch that I hope I don't get demonetized from. I'll just probably play it for you right here.
People are just walking in front of it like we're not recording. It happens. People are people. None of it's intentional. Never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. It's far more likely that they're all in their own worlds, doing their own thing. They're not paying attention to the world around them. And we all do it every day, whether you're driving, walking down the street. All of our lives are just as complex as everybody else's. Everything you have going on, they have going on. Nobody knows what everybody else is going through. We also need to be a little more self-aware and aware of the world around us.
And so based on that video, if you really put it in perspective, and also there's a meme that has the same vibe as this. I'll put it up here. And so with that, you never know what other people are going through. You never know if somebody cuts you off from traffic. You never know why they're cutting you off. You know, some people may think, oh, they're just lazy, they're impatient, but you don't know if they're running late for work. You don't know if the love of their life is literally dying in a hospital and they have to get to the hospital to go meet them for the last time. You don't know if there's a pregnant woman in the car about to give birth, right? So once you become self-aware, you just learn to not get angry all the time. You learn to have self-control, and you never know what other people are going through. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're impatient. It could just probably mean they have somewhere more important to be, like they have a pregnant wife in the car. And so when that happened to me, when that guy kept cussing at me, I didn't get mad. My heart didn't start to race. I was like, okay, here's the cards, here's the cash. Oh, you don't want to buy it? Okay, give me back the cards. Like, I didn't think much of it. I didn't let it affect me. Because there's worse things in life to be affected by, right? And then also the thing with social media detox, there's a video that I want us to watch.
The reason I curate my Twitter the way I do, the reason we have the experience of TikTok that we do, is because I want to be able to, first, what's most important to me, getting something out there for the people who actually pay attention to what I do. I have no idea why, but understanding that that's important and making it important. But also setting boundaries for myself. I believe boundaries are very important in life. And this is a way for me to operate in all tentacles where my entire day isn't structured around that device. And that's something that I am consciously aware of. So I don't want to say I don't want to do that. I want to be a part of all these things. But the person who helps me manage all this is sitting right over there. When we sit down and explore a new platform, the first piece of discussion is how much time is this going to take? Because that is our most valuable asset. The time you gave me today in the car, that's a huge ask. Your time is super valuable. I was able to receive so much worth and wealth from that, and I'm grateful. I'd much rather be doing that than scanning to see what the world is about. I think social media is great if it doesn't make your life miserable. If something makes your life miserable and you continue to do it, man, I don't know what to tell you. Social media doesn't make my life miserable. I feel good about the messages I send. I feel great that I kind of have an art gallery in Instagram. I feel great that we can use TikTok for weird shit. And we're now using it as a way to look back on my life, but it only takes me about 10 minutes a week to do so. So
10 minutes a week. Do you know how many people in their chairs watching this just lost their minds? There are people watching the show that are spending 12 hours a day.
But honestly, if it gives you joy, I'm okay with it. Right. Do what you love. Love what you do and be around those you love while you're doing it. There are people who do certain activities for that amount of time and have a lot of joy in their lives. If you're on your phone and you can fall asleep at night and feel fulfilled, who the fuck am I to say you're doing it wrong?
Hey guys, if you like that clip, hit the...
That scared me. Right, so when it comes to social media, it's not about eliminating social media. Because like I said here, you don't need constant social media. It's about being self-aware. Being really self-aware. Do you really need to scroll on Instagram or any sort of social media for a certain amount of time? But at the end of the day, it's all about being happy and what your goals are in life. I don't know if you guys are aware, but John Cena, he literally posts pictures on Instagram every single day, but it's all about intention, right? It's literally all about intention, love what you do, be around those people who love it, right? And I definitely believe that John Cena couldn't have said it any better than what he did on the Impulsive podcast. You need to really reflect, and am I really happy with the amount of time that I'm spending with a certain habit? And this goes beyond social media, just life in general, right? Does this correlate with having my goals in life? For instance, when I do YouTube, I feel really good with the videos that I post, but what I don't feel good about is me checking my phone, checking YouTube Studio every couple hours to see how many views the video I got has. That is something that I still need to work on. It's all about being self-aware. Alright, so in summary, the key takeaways are: self-awareness is essential for creating a schedule that works for you. Recognize the machine distractions like TV, social media, and algorithms. Observe the habits of others to gain perspective on your own life. Observe the good and bad habits, if I should say. Good, bad habits of others to gain perspective on your own life. Start small, reduce phone or music reliance gradually to train focus. And so what I mean by, I haven't talked about this yet with music reliance, is when I was younger, I used to rely on music a lot. I was scared of silence. I would be walking the dog, listen to music. In my room, just listen to music. I would journal in my book. I needed music so I could write. Now I don't listen to as much music as I used to be. Now I take beauty in the silence. It's not that I have to force myself not to listen to music. Now I think I just rely on it less. In the beginning it was hard because the first thing I would do in the morning is I would go to my phone and click on the Spotify app and play music. And then now I don't get that taste in my mouth to do that as often. The only time that I crave music is maybe if I'm cleaning my room, or I genuinely want to listen to music, or my favorite musician posted a new song, or I'm just goofing off in my room. But I don't crave music when I first wake up in the morning, not like I used to. And then too, when I'm outside walking the dog, I don't take my phone with me. I don't crave music. And in the beginning it was hard, like, oh my god, the thought of me walking and not having anything so that my brain could be stimulated, that could not happen, right? It just could not happen. Like, my mind always had to be listening to something, or my eyes always had to be glued to my phone. But again, if you like what you do, then do it. But I'm just trying, in my opinion, I'm just trying to distance myself from the machine. Because when a song comes on, and sometimes I may not like it, I have to pick up my phone and scroll on what song I want. And then all of a sudden I'm on TikTok. Right? So, and then the next one is to reflect daily on how you spend your time and adjust accordingly. You need to be self-aware on what habits you spend on most of the time. Where is your time? Where is most of your time going during the day? Social media and unnecessary distractions often provide no long-term value. Awareness of your environment, being aware of your environment, will strengthen your discipline and intentional living. But again, John Cena, if you love what you do, and then do it. As long as you are happy. Step 12 is practice monk mode, which I'm actually doing right now at this moment. Step 12 is about practicing monk mode. While it isn't strictly essential when creating a schedule, it is a powerful tool to accelerate. It is a powerful tool to accelerate progress in a single area of your life. Monk mode is all about deep immersion, extreme focus, and prioritizing one goal above all else. So what is monk mode? Monk mode is when you take one goal and dedicate yourself entirely to that goal for a specific amount of time. For example, if you have 10 goals, YouTube, guitar, piano, writing a book, and everything else among the sun. In monk mode, you pick the most important goal and focus exclusively on it for a set duration. 3 months, 6 months, 1 week, 2 days, whatever it may be. This purpose is deep immersion. Any free time that you have revolves around that one goal, often with minimal distractions such as TV or social media. So, real life examples. How does this relate to real life examples? Rocky, Heath Ledger, and Chris Bumstead. Monk mode is best understood through real life examples of extreme focus and dedication. Sylvester Stallone. When Stallone wrote Rocky, you might think it would have taken him a year or more to write it. Instead, he locked himself in a hotel room and wrote the script in just 3.5 days or 4 days. That's what I found on the internet. It's between 3.5 and 4, between those days. And considering how extensive Rocky is, I mean, it's a full movie. He wrote the whole script, the dialogue, and everything for it. And so he likely probably spent about 15 to 18 hours a day writing, factoring in sleep and the constraints of a 24-hour day. He wrote it by hand too, and he is driven by his why. He was motivated because at the time he had a pregnant wife, he had financial struggles, and the challenge of being ignored by Hollywood. No one wanted to hire him to act. And so he decided he'll write a movie himself and act in that movie himself. And the film Rocky, after the script was written, I'm not sure how much time has passed between writing the script and filming, but when they started filming, it took 28 days to film. And this is a good example of showcasing full immersion and extreme focus, the essence of muck mode. That right there is the essence of muck mode. Now another example is Heath Ledger as the Joker. Actors also use muck mode to fully inhabit their roles. Heath Ledger locked himself in a hotel room and he bought a journal and wrote in it as if he were the Joker for hours every day. By the time filming began, he was completely immersed in the character. This is muck mode. Applied to creativity, total focus, minimal distraction, and complete mental immersion. When Heath Ledger was preparing for the role of the Joker, he literally had a journal and he locked himself in a hotel room, again, just like the same way Stallone did, and he pretended as if he was the Joker. And in the end, he became the Joker. This is an example of muck mode. When Heath Ledger was preparing for the Joker, he didn't do anything else. He didn't practice the guitar, he didn't post a YouTube video. That's all he did. Same thing with Sylvester Stallone. He didn't play video games. He didn't watch TV. That's all he did. If he wasn't eating, if he wasn't sleeping, he was writing the script. Muck mode can be dangerous because muck mode is only doing the essentials to live, eating and sleeping. And any free time you have is only about that common goal. And some people may even desert not going to the gym. When they enter muck mode, some people like, all right, I'm not gonna go to the gym. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm just gonna do this one goal until it's done. Some people go hardcore. And another example is Chris Bumstead, who is a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders practice muck mode during competition prep season. Chris Bumstead, when preparing for Mr. Olympia, dedicated himself entirely to one goal: winning the title. I believe he is a 6-time Mr. Olympia in a row. And he did the same thing every prep season so that he could become the best bodybuilder ever. He worked out 2 to 3 times a day, stretched, did his morning cardio, did lift weights in the afternoons. And he had a rest day. He ate healthy food and repeated. He didn't tempt himself into temptations. When he's prepping for a show, he doesn't buy junk food, and even his wife, who's with him, he has no junk food in the house because it's one less thing that he has to worry about. And he did that on repeat. He did not pursue unrelated hobbies. He didn't play guitar. He didn't do anything else. His life revolved entirely around preparation, focus, and execution. Muck mode ensures maximum results in a concentrated period of time. And some people may believe that the only reason why Chris Bumstead is a 6-time Mr. Olympia in a row is because of his very disciplined schedule. When he's prepping for a show, when it's bodybuilding season, he does nothing, literally nothing but bodybuilding. When he's resting, he's not mowing the lawn because he doesn't want to injure himself and he doesn't want to burn unnecessary calories so that he loses muscle. And so when he's not working out, he's laying on the couch playing Assassin's Creed. There's a vlog of him. There's a day in a life video of him where he plays video games, and he's like, yeah, if I'm not at the gym, I play video games because he doesn't want to injure himself. When he's prepping for a season, he watches a lot of movies because he doesn't want to injure himself, and he has the best wife ever. She cooks for him, cleans for him, and does all that. I don't know if when he's not on prep, he cleans for her and stuff like that, but I know that when he's on prep, they have a common agreement because he does not want to waste any energy that he has on doing unnecessary chores that doesn't relate to him becoming a better bodybuilder. And so the principle behind muck mode is about doing what you cannot live without, your essential goals. So you still need to eat and sleep, but everything else like TV, social media, or other hobbies is optional. So start small, try muck mode for 1 week to see how it feels. Duration may vary, it could be a day, a weekend, a week, or longer. Goal type matters. Muck mode works best for goals that don't require intense skill learning, like writing a book, writing a script, or create a project. Muck mode is horrible when it comes to learning a language because you can't really learn a language for 10 hours a day because it's gonna fry your brain. You know your brain needs time to learn. But skills that, muck mode is great if you're a college student prepping for a test, right? Muck mode is great for students that has a big project coming up. And for skill-based goals like learning a language, playing the guitar, and excessive immersion, 15 hours straight, is inefficient because your brain needs time to recover. However, muck mode works wonders for exam prep or focused project work where all attention goes towards one target. Muck mode works best, for writing a book, like I said, a script, cleaning your room, because it doesn't really require a lot of brain memorizing skills. It doesn't really involve the brain using a lot of brain power. I really hope you know what I mean by that. There's certain goals where you can spend 10 hours on, whereas if you spend 10 hours on learning a language, it'll probably do the opposite. Alright, so how do you practice muck mode? Tip number 1 is choose one goal. Identify the goal that is most important or most impactful. 2, set a time frame. Decide the duration, hours, days, weeks, or months. Like for example, right now I'm doing muck mode and I'm going from November 8 to January 1. Tip 3 is to eliminate distractions. So cut TV, social media, and other non-essential activities. And so what I mean by eliminate distractions is ask yourself, will I die if I don't consume this type of media? Or will I die if I don't pursue this one hobby for 3 months? But sometimes these can go hand in hand. Because if you are a content creator, sometimes you need social media, right? And so you really have to decipher. You can also do this as instead. Post your video, comment to whoever comments on your video, but do not scroll. That's what I do when it comes to YouTube, especially right now when it comes to muck mode. I'm not scrolling on YouTube. I post my video and I see who comments, I reply back to them, and that's it. So some distractions may be a distraction to you, but it may not be a distraction to someone else, and going back to being more self-aware. You know, the John Cena quote and that guy from the mall, right? We need to become a little bit more self-aware of the world around us, because you never know who's going through what. Tip 4 is to immersion execution. Dedicate all free time to that goal, balancing only the essentials like food, water, and sleep, maybe adding exercise. Number 5 is to adapt for skill-based goals. If your goal involves learning or mental strain or physical strain, like a bodybuilder, allow time for recovery, like what Chris Bumstead did. He didn't work out for 15 hours a day. He worked out 2 to 3 hours a day with flexibility, mobility. He did his cardio, he lifted his weight, he ate his food, and if he wasn't in the gym, he was laying on the couch. Plain and simple. The key principle is find one goal, focus entirely on it, and remove all unnecessary distractions. These are just additional tips and variations. Start small. Even a single weekend on your day off, muck mode can be transformative. Any free time you have, dedicate it to your goal. Whether if you work a 40 work week, dedicate even 2 hours to that goal can make a difference. Muck mode works perfectly well for creative projects, exams, or highly focused work. Some extreme practitioners skip exercise or other activities temporarily to devote 100% of their energy to the goal, but balance is important. Eat, sleep, and maintain basic health. Like when Heath Ledger immersed himself in the goal of the Joker, he didn't exercise, he didn't do anything. He lived as if he was the Joker, and I think that was the core reason. Well, many people speculate that the reason why he overdosed was because he played the Joker, and it did an amounts of pain on his mental health. Like he played the role so well that he deformed his brain in the process. That's what many people speculate, that Heath Ledger developed depression because he put it upon himself, because he devoted everything he had on the Joker. And so muck mode can be a good, but it also can be a bad thing if you don't incorporate your own life into it. So you need to make sure that you're still eating, you're still sleeping, and you're still maintaining your basic well-being. And then experiment with different durations. Experiment if a day, 1 week, 1 month, or longer. I believe everyone should try muck mode at least once in their life to experience the potential for concentrated achievement. And these are just key takeaways. Muck mode equals full immersion in a single goal. Eliminate distractions. It works best for non-skill-based projects. Doing an exam, maybe editing a YouTube video. Start small and gradually increase the duration. And do your research. Look to real-life examples like Sylvester Stallone. He wrote the entire script to Rocky. Heath Ledger as the Joker, and Chris Bumstead. These are just my examples, because these are just people that I know from experience in real life. Well, I don't know them in real life, but these are some of my favorite people that are examples of muck mode. So try and find your example of muck mode, especially with a lot of actors. A lot of actors do this. What's now? Andrew Garfield. He's a good one. He's a method actor. Tons and tons of method actors immerse themselves in whatever role that they're playing. And everyone should try it at least once. Again, it reveals how much progress is possible with singular focus, and it tests your mental strength. It tests your discipline. It shows you how mentally strong you really are. Now this is the last step, page 99. Be forgiving and patient. Creating the schedule isn't about writing down goals or carving out hours. It's about learning to be forgiving and patient, especially with yourself. I've talked about this with discussing your goals, the step number 10 of being patient with your goals, but it's worth saying again when it comes to having a schedule. So remember back in, where is that? Yeah, on how to make goals. It was step 10. Oh, never mind. It was step 9, be forgiving and patient. And then step 10 was being insane. It's about learning to be forgiving and patient, especially with yourself. Let me give you a real-life example from my own routine. My goal is to practice the guitar and the piano 4 times a week, 30 minutes each session. Some weeks I only manage to hit 2 sessions a week, and you know what? That's okay. I don't beat myself up for it. I don't try to make up for lost time. Instead, I take a step back and I become self-aware. I ask myself, again, the why question back in section 2. Why didn't I hit my goals for this week? Was I busy? Did something beyond my control happen? Or did I let the machine, the TV, my phone take over? Was it my health controlling me? My health problems? Or was I being lazy? Or did I simply just lack the energy? Sometimes there's nothing you can do about the time that you have. Life happens, but what really matters is how you handle those moments of failure. You can get frustrated, angry, but when you set a goal to practice, 4 times a week, but only manage to do it only 1 time that week, that frustration is completely normal. But that's how growth begins. Because you know that you're supposed to do something, and then you don't do it. And then so you feel regret. But here's the key. You need to learn how to forgive yourself. If you don't feel bad about not completing your goal, most likely, you're doing the right thing. If you don't feel compassion, if you don't feel emotional towards your goal, if you don't feel happy completing your goal, if you don't feel angry for not completing your goal, most likely you need to find a different goal. You know what I'm trying to say? Having your goals, you need to be emotional about. There needs to be an emotional connection to having your goals. But failure isn't the enemy. The machine is the enemy. Always remember that. Failure isn't the enemy. But not understanding why you fail is. The machine is the enemy, not failure. Failure isn't the enemy. Remember that. Being a failure is not the enemy. Not understanding why you fail is the enemy. Okay? If you keep missing your goals week after week, remember that failure isn't the enemy. Not understanding why you have failed is the enemy, okay? If you keep missing your goals week after week, month after month, and then it's time to evaluate. Maybe your schedule needs tweaking. Maybe life is just busy right now. Maybe something in your life is holding you back. But you don't ever need to punish yourself for circumstances that are out of your control. You need to adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward. You know, going back to that Rocky Balboa quote, it's no matter how hard you can get hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, right? Self-awareness is critical here. Evaluate your failures honestly. For me, my empty cello and my reactive hypoglycemia sometimes they drain my energy unpredictably, because sometimes I have good days, sometimes I have real bad days, and it's very frustrating. And yes, those moments, they do frustrate me, are not the most that aren't, what? Yes, it's frustrating, but the moments that frustrate me the most aren't the weeks that I have low energy. They're not the days, they're not the months that I have low energy. It's when I have the energy and still choose to waste it on the machine. That's where true self-awareness comes in. Recognize your choices, own up to them, and forgive yourself. I'm never frustrated with my health conditions. Yeah, I am. You know, if I'm having a bad day and it sucks because I can't walk my dog that day, or I can't film a YouTube video because I can't get out of bed. But that, it doesn't really it does frustrate me, but what really, really sets me off is knowing that I have the energy on the days that I have good days, but choosing not to do it anyway. The days that I have low energy and I can't do it, I'm probably at a 5 out of 10 on the anger scale. But on the days that I know I have the energy but choose not to do it, I'm at a 10 out of 10 when it becomes being angry. But I forgive myself. Self-improvement isn't gonna be linear. It never has been about being linear. It's not about hitting 100% every single day of your life. Some days you're gonna be at 10%, some days 50%, and some days you're gonna be at 200% or 100%. The graph of progress is jagged, messy, unpredictable, but that's what makes it special, because it's yours. What matters is becoming better, but not bitter with the process. When you start self-improvement, it's important to become better, but not bitter. Yesterday, you gave it 10%. Well, then today, give it 11%. Yesterday, you only gave it 11%. I'll give 12%. But yesterday, you only gave it 9% because you're having a bad day. That means tomorrow, you give it 9%, right? It's not always going to be linear. It's always going to be maybe a straight line. You're going to go up, 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 and then you're probably going to go down in a straight line. You need to push yourself just a little further. And that's all any of us can really do. Take what you have, do your best, and keep moving forward. And being forgiving and patient doesn't stop with yourself. people in your life won't always support you. Some are just gonna be jerks to you. They'll cut you off in traffic, annoy you at work, or say things that try to bring you down. Don't let them control your energy. They're not worth it. Focus on what you can control. Your schedule, your effort, and your progress. Step 13 is about patience and forgiveness. Be forgiving to yourself when your schedule falters. Be forgiving to others when they irritate or distract you. Always be forgiving to other people. You don't always have to say sorry or I understand you to people. What you can do is not retaliate. Just because somebody cusses you out doesn't mean you have to cuss them out. Because you're gonna stoop down to their level. Do not be like them. Do not become a product of the machine. If somebody leaves a rude comment on your YouTube video asking if you're a boy or a girl, and then quoting a scripture from the Bible, you don't need to comment a hateful comment back. You don't have to reply back. Sometimes you can kill them with kindness. Sometimes I just say, God bless you, and that's it. Because it confuses them, right? They're trying to make you angry, but then you're giving them a compliment. Oh, but always be forgiving to others when they irritate or distract you. And then there's always a time and a place. If it's 5 against 1, fight back. If it's 1 against 1, even 2 against 1, let the world handle them. Let karma handle them. Let God handle their faith. Control what only you can control. Words do not mean anything. If somebody says, hey, brownie, if they say, F you, man, those are just words. So what, right? Somebody calls you fat, those are just words. I mean, what are you gonna do about it, right? Don't let it affect you. Self-improvement is a journey. It's not a straight path from point A to point B. It's all about the slopes, the setbacks, the uneven terrain, the messy, the beautiful climb toward being better, and then who you were yesterday. And remember, failure is like the meat stuck in between your teeth. Right? Right? It's frustrating sometimes, uncomfortable, right? But if you keep flossing, you keep working at it, and eventually, if you're patient enough and persistent, you'll be free of pain. Take back what is yours, keep moving forward, and trust the process. Failure is like the meat, remember. Failure is like the meat stuck in between your teeth. And you got meat in your teeth, it's uncomfortable, but you know you're going to get it out. You know that you're going to get it out, but you have to be patient, you have to be persistent, right? Maybe drink a cup of water, switch it around, floss your teeth, brush your teeth, and it'll be gone, right? Failure is the meat stuck in between your teeth. And yes, I know that this is step 13. Most people say that number 13 is unlucky, but we're flipping that meaning. Self-improvement will be unlucky. Self-improvement is always going to be unlucky. Self-improvement will be ugly. Ugly, right? Self-improvement is like the meat stuck between your teeth. You keep flossing, because you want that imperfection to be gone. You want that pain to be gone. You want that discomfort to be gone. But nothing seems to budge that piece of meat. But you keep flossing anyway, day after day. Because you know eventually it's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow, but you know eventually, right? And soon you'll be free from all that pain. Self-improvement is exactly that. Keep flossing despite failures, because you'll eventually win. The number 3 is not unlucky. It has never been unlucky. We just need to control how we view it. We need to become I think I just spit. We just need to view it. We just need to become a little self-aware of the environment around us. At the end of the day, it's just a number. 13 is just a number. 13 is just the number 1 and 3 together. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 is an even number. It's a lucky number, right? Control how you view the world and all will follow. Remember that. Now, this is your homework to do. Section 1's homework. Understand step 1. Understand that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Step 2. Do I got meat stuck in my teeth? I don't care if this is disgusting or not. See? I think it's right there. Step 2. Use math obligation hours to figure out how many hours you actually have in the day. Step 3. Rotate substitute tasks. Practice multitasking. Step 4. Create a buffer zone. Prepare for the worst. 5. Prioritize your goals. Do the most important goal first. 6. Plan for rest days and execute goals with precision. 7. Use your extra hours wisely. 8. Track your progress and visualize your schedule. 9. Set rules. Set boundaries. Can't even spell boundaries, but that's okay. There we go. Auto-corrected it for me. 10. Create alternative schedules. 11. Become self-aware. 12. Practice muck mode. This step is optional. And step 13. Be forgiving and patient of the meat stuck in between your teeth. This is your homework.